Yeah, I think yeah, you're live. Nice. Okay. Good luck, boys. Have a good one. Mwah.
Hello and welcome to Prohubs Sunday. I am here joined with Sonsoyo. Sonsoyo, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to ProHub Sunday. This is the fourth installment of ProHub Sunday. It's going to be an exciting day today.
Yes, I can't wait. We have a ton of matches lined up for you today. And real quick, let's just go over all of the rules for these matches. They will be a best of three single elimination. So, what that means is that there will be 3 rounds played in total, and the team that ends up winning 2 of those will move on to the next stage in the bracket.
Yeah, and once people make it to the final round, the finals will end up being a best of five, making that 5 matches in total if it does go to that. So it should be an interesting day. Further on, we have no loadout swappings allowed. Double specs are allowed, contrary to some of the previous rules we had. So it's going to be interesting to see if we see people run double heal beams or double mesh or anything like that. Double weapons are allowed. However, models stay as one per team, as well as frags being one per team, which should be a great rule to have, especially with frags still being extremely potent in this meta.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about that off stream and the fact that if you don't understand why we have limited the nades, it's like you get 2 nades, they can do a potential 150 damage. Usually it's around 149. But if you have more than one person running them, it basically turns into a nade fest. There's no indication, there's no really kind of even sound cue that nades are near you. So it turns into being a very kind of unbalanced meta when we get in there. So having one person per team run them seems fair. We do have some discussion maybe a little bit later for what we suggest to change that. But for now, we will be loading into our first match of the day, and this will be between Aimers and Tokyo. Do you want to give us a rundown of the players on these two teams?
Yeah, and so on Tokyo, we have OG, Stacks XTX, and Alone in Paris on Team Tokyo. And on Aimers, we have Atelko, Noah X, and Jurgen, all veterans of the scene. So it's going to be an interesting matchup because I know Tokyo does play a lot in the Pro Hub scene, and as well as we have Aimers who have been consistently up into these tournaments. So it should be very interesting to see that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I'm most excited for. Like, I'm looking over the entire roster of all the teams today, and I want to say that I know probably about 50% of the players, and then probably about 50% of them I've just never seen before. So to me, it'll be kind of really kind of interesting to see if some of these old titans in the field can hold up to maybe some of the new blood that's in here, or will we just see what we've seen before, and a team like Amers might just take it all the way to the start. But I just don't know what to expect, and I think that everybody is in for some absolute amazing matches for today. And yeah, I think that the first one will be on Las Vegas. Any thoughts on Vegas?
So Vegas is definitely an interesting map. You have the sandstorm variation, kind of putting a wrench in some people's plans, pushing more of a range meta. However, generally on Las Vegas, you have a pretty close range brawl type fights that break out inside these buildings. If they do get the sandstorm variation, it may make people swap to a more range meta on that heavy and potentially play those dunes out in the corner of the map. But generally, I don't think anything is going to really change in terms of the heavy meta because that's the one pick that might be a little bit different. Maybe you might see a medium take a model, but generally, we're going to probably see a majority heavy, medium, light as like the top teams, like the most meta pick in this current situation because that LH1 is really just destructive. It's so easy to use, as well as the FAMAS being such good beams in this meta right now.
Well, and I'm really happy to hear that because I think that it's even in my own experience, I've noticed that a lot of my games that I've been making it to the final round in are the heavy, light, medium meta. It's the weird setup because I think that the game is in such a place right now where each class really shines, and then if you bring them together and you have that harmony between the teams, it can just make your team unstoppable because you're basically covering every angle. You have somebody that's a gargoyle with the LH1 setting up, overseeing everything. You have a medium that can either heal or demat, and then you have a heavy that can really just kind of take the brunt of the damage, throw up a shield, throw up a barricade, do whatever they want, just to kind of keep their team in control. And I love that not symphony, just kind of
That
synergy.
synergy, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what the word I'm looking for. Yeah, and I love that we're seeing this. I mean, going back to further previous tournaments, previous matchups, we weren't seeing this. So I don't know. You got me excited in the fact that you're saying you'll probably see light, medium, heavy, and I'm like, yes, that is what I want to see
Mm.
today. So yeah, uh, yeah. What are your thoughts on the setup of this? So we have
So
Alone, S3, OJ. What do you think that they're going to be running?
So I'm not sure where they're going to be running. I haven't really seen them play before, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of approach they take against this veteran team. I do think aimers are going to be playing HML, but I know they have that heavy medium medium in their back pocket, and they're very potent on both of those uh, team compositions. The one thing that I dislike in this current meta with the LH1 being so easy, a lot of these fights really depend on the light and how well they're able to navigate the light differential. And like, so if each team are playing the heavy medium light composition, a lot of the fight comes down to how much damage the heavy can get in before dying, as well as whether or not that LH1 or whatever that light is playing can best the other light on the other team to kind of really get a massive advantage. So that's what we might be seeing in this meta and throughout the day is these light matchups being really impactful in this current meta and really swinging these fights one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you're right. It is absolutely being about how impactful your light can be, and I think that there are a lot of times when we see it turns into just a light on light 1v1 towards the end
Mhm.
because both medium and heavies have gone down, and then it really turns into who can land their shots, who is going invis, and like I guess since while we're waiting for the match to get started, it seems like most lights run invis versus dash or even grapple. What are your thoughts on that? Just why choose Invis? I mean, people that have never played, people that have never seen. I,
Mhm.
I have my theories and my belief of why, but from your perspective, what do you feel?
So I think a lot of lights right now are leaning towards invis because it's a little bit easier and more forgiving of a specialization to be able to get your value out of what the light needs to do, rotate around, be unseen, get those flanks pretty easily. I think it's just easier to play. However, this may be a little bit of a hot take. I do think dash is slightly better than invis once you get
You
to more
too.
of those higher skill ranks in terms of like higher skill players. It's just a little bit more potent for people really trying to figure out light in this meta. And I think light now becoming kind of in the forefront of the meta, more newbies to the class are kind of picking it up. So Invis
Right.
is definitely easier to play, and you can get a lot more value out of Invis without having as much practice. That's why I think
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot more Invis.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that we are getting Sandstorm variation of Las Vegas,
Yeah.
so we will see things a little bit differently. But just to conclude everything that I was saying is that I think the invis also really helps when I'm calling it gargoyling, where you kind of set up on top of
Hmm.
a building, you have a nice overview. It makes it where you're just a little bit more invisible until you start taking shots off, and I think that that's really important for just getting an overview, getting that little bit of damage, and getting into it. But here we go, everybody. We are getting started in this match. It does look from Tokyo. We do have a heavy, light, medium. The heavy is running Winch Claw, and it does look like both heavies are running the Winch Claw. So we will see a lot of pulls, a lot of amazing yanks. And here we go, getting started on Las Vegas.
Yeah, and on Team Aimers, they're going to be playing the heavy, medium comp alongside that winch, just like Rio just said. So this is going to be interesting to see what kind of angles these guys play with their range and everything. As we set up on this position, pink team getting the high ground. That is going to be Aimers setting up their APS as they just get poked from Tokyo, getting jumped pad RPG'd on, getting some value here, and going to look to try and get some picks before they drop down. This light constantly falls down and gets in the brawl, and it looks like pink team losing one of their mediums here as they wipe Tokyo, and Aimers takes the first cash out box. Getting that tap before is so extremely important in this meta.
Yeah, honestly, that was a pretty sloppy engagement from both teams. It seemed like that light fell through. They needed to be kind of up on a perch, and then as soon as they were down, they were kind of exposed, and it seemed like all of their firepower were dedicated on getting that light down. So it's kind of not what you wanted to see. I don't even think a single person from Pink Team went down. And we should point out for everybody that's watching, Pink Team is Aimers, and Orange Team is Tokyo. So just if you're watching from above, if you're trying to root for one team or the other, there you go. You have these set up now. And it does look like we will see Pink Team getting set up. They get the put in for cash out B, and they have plenty of time to get set up before Orange Team starts to make their advance. It seems like Orange Team is actually here already. They're on the roof. We see a lot of fighting going off. One person from Orange Team goes down already. There's a dome shield up from Orange. They're trying to get a res off from their teammate, and there it is. A lot of fighting happening on top of the roof. One of them goes down. I think we're down to the last person from Orange Team, and sadly, they go down as well. That is the second wipe already happening for this team. They need to make some changes. They need to make them now.
Yeah, I think they're approaching too forward and too obvious. They're really pushing that roof and not really looking for where Aimers is. They're not really playing the time. They had plenty of time to set up an offensive and look for them. A lot of people typically like playing this back area because they can pad on them, just like Aimers did. Getting that big RPG is massive to kind of get the swing, the fight in your favor. And as they push in, Orange Team is pushing in through this Death Valley. A little bit split here. It's going to be a medium and a heavy there as the light looks to go get some value up on the top. So
Yeah, and they are pushing in immediately. Really, they are not waiting for any moment. We see Orange Team throws down an APS. They're going directly for the steal. They're going to force Pink Team to push in. We see the RPG going off. They are trying to buy themselves a little bit of time, but now they're retreating off of the point. It seems like they're trying to get to a better vantage point. There's the Orange Heavy running away, trying to get away from this, but he looked like he had a little bit of health, and that is it. And they do go down immediately and get the wipe and the steal, and that is going to be it for the first cash out, because by the time they respawn, yeah, the Orange is not going to have a chance.
And Aimers is not going to be afraid of them forcing that point. They're going to use that to their advantage. They know if they're going to full steal that point, they're going to have one man down in the fight. They can just get some easy beams, winch them out, and get some clean picks off, because it's going to be a 2v3 while someone's stealing. That was some good patience and lack of, and some good patience there. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, and it looks like they might be making their advance again. I don't really know the point of this, but there is setup of a gargoyle, and no, it doesn't look like they're going to make the push. They might wait for them to set up and just kind of get out of the position. But no, actually, it looks like Orange Team is just going to go straight for Vault 2. Can't really tell where that's set up just yet.
It should be in the middle of Casino Floor on the first floor of Eastwood, so which is now the Halto building. I think they did a big rebranding here, so.
Yeah, I love the rebranding. I think it was absolutely needed for all these buildings. Added a little bit more character to it. But Orange Team is set up, and they actually let Pink Team go ahead and get the tap on that vault. I'm not sure what their plan is here. I think that they're just going to want to intercept them as they either head to C or A. If you were in this position, which one would you choose? Would you choose A or C?
I would definitely choose C because of that light. You know, you don't want to expose your team too much. C is definitely a better point for aimers. That Dune point can be pretty tough if the light knows how to set up on it.
No,
and I mean, Pink Team's just gonna wait. They're in first place. They have no urgency, no need to push this, but they're gonna push anyway. Look for some damage here potentially. But I don't know if I like this move entirely. I think they should just wait and wait and wait and force Orange Team into a bad position.
Yeah, I agree. It is all about timing. It's all about positioning. And right now, Orange does have a little bit of advantage just from the height perspective alone. So if they see any movement, if that cash out starts to move any bit, they will be able to just rain down bullets on whoever is getting that cash out and moving it at the time. So this is why we're seeing kind of a stalemate, because both teams is aware of this fact. They can definitely hear Orange Team hopping around up there. And yeah, I think you're right. I think that they've taken your advice basically, and they are just sitting and waiting. They have plenty of time. Orange Team does look like they're sending somebody in there just to get a little bit of information. I think that their light is set up outside of there. But again, this is a stalemate, and I don't know how this is going to get broken.
Amers is just gonna wait. They can wait all day for this, and they're gonna use that cash box as bait here. Oh, but they get an engagement, a big winch from their heavy, taking down a Telco's heavy here and getting that team wipe very quickly. I don't know what happened in that fight, but they just got destroyed there. That winch pulling a lot of weight there with their medium right behind them.
Yeah, honestly, it looked like the DMAT through the wall, and then OG with the immediately winch claw pulled somebody out of position, and it just makes it where if you get pulled out and you pull the right player, you can force the enemy team to just scramble. And there's that little bit of chaos when you are the person that's winched, because your chance of survival is very low. So either you can try and dash away, get away, but chances are low. So you've already put your team in a bad position by just being forcefully pulled out of position. So it's a really powerful tool. You can see why both heavies are running it. But here we go. They are getting the push onto cash out C. If Pink Team is able to get the steal, this will be it.
This is what a Telco's team loves to do. They love to put down the APS, DMAT points down, and force them, because they're going to expect to have that C4 there as they get the free steal, avoiding the winch narrowly.
Yeah, just barely. You saw that clock going in and out of the little hole for the DMAT hole. But here is the fighting going down. Pink Team is in full control of this. It looks like the res went off from Orange Team. They are running around with that F-car. One res off of Pink Team, and I think that's the last member, and they do get the wipe. So Orange was able to come back from that, get the wipe, and now get the steal. They're in a really good position, and I actually have a good feeling that we will be going to the third cash out for this first map.
Yeah, I mean, it's very smart use of the dematting above them, getting some good damage right above them. Now they're going to break the hole right above to get some easy line of sight. They can beam up from this third floor and stop any potential force point here. They're going to have to take this fight quickly and aggressively unless a Telco wants to force this point.
Yeah, what they're doing, they are just running in, guns blazing into this, and here is Pink Team. They are just charging into that point. It looks like the DMAT is going to drop it down again. They close it off immediately so they can go for the steal. You're right, before they do love that APS turret. There is the dome shield. I think that they will get this steal off, and they do, and they are in full control of it. They just have to buy time for about 15 seconds now. A lot of fighting going off on the top floor. DMAT's that as well. Everybody falls through, and there is the shotgun. They're down to 1 health, and oh my god, that's it. They get the wipe, they get the steal, they get the point. This is it, the end of the first map.
Yeah, and this is the importance in this situation, in these high ranked lobbies, knowing what your team likes to do. Like when I was playing back in the day, I always knew a Telco likes to force this point like this. You cannot give them these free angles to just steal. You cannot allow them that much time. This is like something that EU love to do and takes advantage of. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tokyo tries to adapt to their playstyle and if they stop them from stealing or have some other game plans potentially.
Yeah, and you know, at first I was a little worried about Tokyo. I thought that it was a little sloppy, but I gotta give them credit because they seem to come back. They seem to have a good control of it. I think that that last steal at the end just kind of really could have gone either way, and so they had a lot of firepower. They, in looking at the score and the breakdown, does look like Alone in Paris, their light player, really was kind of pulling some weight on that in that map. And yeah, I think that we actually have a really good matchup here. This doesn't seem to be the sweep that I thought it would be going into it, but who knows? I might be eating my words because we are going to be loading into the next map on Monaco to see if they can pull anything out.
Yeah, I think Tokyo adapted decently well there. At the start, they were looking a little bit shaky, but they did really take that second point back and really take control over Amers. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can do a little bit more adaptation. They seem to be adapting quicker than Amers, but look, these teams have experience and they're going to be able to adapt right back on a new map. So it's going to be a completely different landscape in this duck and cover. It's going to be a little bit more of a range meta as well, like we just saw on Sandstorm. So if the points are in bad spots, it could be in a great advantage for Alone and Paris to get those clean LH1 shots and get some crazy headshot damage.
Yeah, and for everybody that is tuning in, this will be duck and cover. So what that means is normally on Monaco there is a massive cathedral kind of in the center of the map. But what duck and cover means is that if you look up at the very top of the map, there are all of these mascots kind of floating in the air, and one of them is a giant duck. And in this scenario, the duck has fallen on the cathedral, completely crashed it, and left us with a big giant crater in the entire map. There is the duck, and there is the crater. So what this means is it means for a more open map, less places to hide, and there even are cash outs that land in the middle of that open area. So it makes for a very interesting and very dynamic map. And actually, this is my very first time seeing duck and cover variation with snow. So I'm pretty happy, but we are hopping right into the combat. And it does look like Orange Team is perched up on top, and they were trying to get some pop shots off on Pink. It does look like they are in control of this first vault, and Pink Team is wrapping around trying to get set up and get ready for this next fight.
Yeah, and we have Tokyo on Orange Team as well as Pink Team on as Aimers. So just to clarify as well here. And Aimers taking the low ground approach here, looking to get some good value, pushing into this building as Orange Team TPs away. They're a little scared to take that TP. Sometimes people set up traps, maybe not. It could be a bluff. But they're going to go ahead and take this roof as Orange Tokyo takes Grandma's over here in this corner building and takes this roof and takes control of the point. Getting some big nade damage. This may be a good opening for Aimers to push in here. They don't have any heals, so it's gonna take them a while to get up. Looking into push, they get a clean pick on that light and gets a decent RPG onto Aimers, rotating around, trying to buy as much time, play the coin potentially as that heavy rotates around.
Yeah, and there it is. There's the winch claw. They are able to pull out that Pink player and get a great kill on that. Orange Team is just buying time with this, but they are unable to secure it, and they do get wiped. A lot of work being done for Jurgen.
Yeah, Jurgen really clutching up there, having 1,500 combat, getting all 4 kills there. Not to say that Atelko and anyone else didn't do enough damage, but Jurgen just really clutching up.
Yeah, and honestly, that shotgun can do a lot of damage in the right hands, and we are seeing exactly what that can be.
And as we were talking about at the start, that nade opener really creating a lot of value and allowing them push for space really effectively there. Orange Team really pushing out in the open here. Could be a bad play, but there's nobody on taking roof control. They're going to walk right into this building. Let's see what they do to force this point, because I don't know if they're going to be able to find the Aimers here. They're probably going to demat the point down, get rid of that C4 somehow, and then force point as Aimers takes an angle here.
Yeah, Aimers got to push in right now. They are going for the steal. There's the winch claw to pull it out of position. They do buy themselves a little bit of time, and honestly, now the cash out is just running out. There's less than 15 seconds left on this. Somebody's got to dive on it in the next 7 seconds. There is the steal going off. The res from Pink gets one of their members up. Looks like the steal has been pulled off. A winch claw went down. Orange Team gets another member down, and it looks like they are fighting just in this open area right now. Does look like they got 2 kills. They're going for the steal. There's just a few seconds left. There is that shotgun kill going down, and Orange gets wiped, and Pink is able to hold on to this cash out for one more time.
And that was pretty close. If they got on with enough time there, that would have been down to the wire. That was probably maybe less than a second left to get that steal. So that winch could have been a misplay there. If he body blocked well enough, they might have gotten it because he missed that winch.
Yeah, honestly, just a wild play there, and I don't know. Aimers was really kind of showing their dominance. They were even able to set up in a completely other building and go in there, stop the steal, get the winch clawed, buy themselves just enough time, and then get the wipe. That's what I see from a dominating team. So if I am Orange Team Kyoto, I would kind of make some changes right now. I would make sure that everybody is on and the communication is on point, because you potentially only have one more cash out.
Yeah, and like we saw last game, Aimers are just going to force them to go to that 2-point, go to 2 and grab it and use that as bait. They're just going to wait and buy their time since they're in first place now.
Yeah, and here is Orange Team getting set up, ready to intercept anything that Pink Team throws their way. But I think that they were wagering that they would go to C, but it does look like Pink Team is starting to work their way towards A, or they might just be setting up and waiting for Orange Team to make a mistake at this point.
Yeah, with the points at their back, they're going to have all the time in the world to really control this map. If they can force Tokyo into a bad spot with the points on their back, they're going to do so. So this looks like how they're going to be setting up here. They're just waiting to use that bait, but maybe they might not have enough time with that gateway, giving them a slight advantage. Maybe catching them slightly off guard. They're probably going to get this plug in this cave, and they may have some clean shots down as Amers rotates in here, but they get some roof control, and it's going to be a head glitch fight here as they take damage and get some nades off on Alone in Paris. They're going to jump pad, maybe RPG here to get some good value. Dodges that winch narrowly and getting great damage on them. Getting stunned here, maybe getting picked off, but as he takes out the light, he's going to move on to the next person here. Getting some big RPG value as a Telco dies, gets taken down. And getting that res, getting their full team back up, looking for that final member potentially of Tokyo. And he gets taken out, and that's the team wipe.
There it is. Jurgen is a beast. Can we see the scoreboard real quick? Because I think that, yeah, 8 kills. What is this? They are just letting him have a field day right now. And I don't know what Orange is doing wrong. If it's positioning or it just seems like, it seems like the aimers are just getting bored and they just decide to push. They decide to make the move. And I kind of love it. It just shows a real force of dominance in the field. So if they are able to secure this next cash out, I would really be worried about anybody else in this bracket going forward because Amers is scary at this current moment.
Yeah, and I'm glad they took this construction point. It's going to be a little bit better for their heavy, medium comp. As they drop in, forcing the steal, getting that C4 didn't fall off somehow. And they get lucky. They get a free drop. As you saw them pushing behind Crane, they're going to get some good damage here. That APS not being up, getting RPG'd or naded, and 2 of them are so low, it's going to be an easy fight for Amers here. If they throw this, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, this is wild. What an amazing fight going back and forth. And oh man, they had everything going for them. They had the drop. They had the C4 landed where it landed on the floor below them. So it went off and it didn't blow up and hurt anybody. Orange had the drop on them in every aspect of that. Yeah, man,
I'm
guys.
not sure what happened with that C4 because it went straight through that APS and just disregarded it. I'm boggled by that. That is a totally bug-free game.
Yeah, sometimes weird things happen, but here we go. Orange is starting to make their advance. They have potentially one last push, and they basically have to dive on this point. They have just a few seconds to find out where everybody is. We see Amers is set up to the right there. They are in one nice location, perfect for an RPG, but it looks like that APS absolutely ate that RPG that was shot at them. They are now armed with an RPG as well, and they have just a few seconds. There is the steal. They're going for it, but they do drop it, so Orange has to regroup and try and make the steal one more time. We're looking at 10 more seconds. They have to get on this, and now, and there is another Orange team member going down. One of them goes down. Amazing aim from Noah. In res goes off from Orange, but it is not enough time. Somebody needs to be on that cash out now, and I don't think that they're going to be able to get it. There is the forced steal, and there is one more person from Orange up, and he is going to go down, get the wipe, and that is Amers taking the first map pretty easily. Or first round.
First game, yeah, first round. Fantastic round from Amers. Really not showing any sign of faltering. They did lose one cash out, but they look clean in their fights the entire time. It's going to be unfortunate to see Tokyo leave this early, as I do think they do have some potential there. They showed some good signs of teamwork, and they knew how to set up and what to do. It's just Atelka and Amers have some great experience in this comp scene.
Well, in looking at the scoreboard, it seems like the light player just wasn't able to get anything working. They
Yeah.
maybe just got the distance wrong, and I think there were several really good yanks from their heavy from Jurgen to pull people just out of position and just force that scramble that I was talking about earlier. But yeah, Jurgen is terrifying. All of Amers is amazing, and honestly, Tokyo, y'all are great players. I just think a little bit unfortunate of where y'all got placed in this start of the tournament. So please go back and watch these matches and learn and kind of, I think, come back at this because, yeah, there's something there. But we will be starting to work on our next matchup. But in the meantime, it does look like we have an update of the bracket. It looks like Aim Assist Abuse has lost their matches as well. And the GOATs will be moving on to the next round. So the first two matchups, first two teams that have moved forward are Aimers and the GOATs. And
Yeah,
production, you know who we're going to be watching next?
on aim assist abuse, we had Norton, Vega, and Manda versus the goats of Carnifex, Mauser, and Treason. So that's also a very similar matchup. You have these veterans in the scene I haven't heard of aim assist abusers. I think I've seen the name, but I maybe only know Manda on their team in Vega. But have you heard of them before, Rio?
No, I'm just familiar with Vega basically from that entire list. So,
Okay.
yeah, but you say you know I'm Manda?
I think I
Uh,
know Manda and Vega, and they're pretty good in the scene. I think a lot of these players just need a little bit more experience in the comp scene to know how some of this tempo is played because ranked is completely different than 3v3 comp. I think there's a lot of adaptation and a lot more pressure in this comp scene to really know how people rotate with the kiting meta and everything with this LH1, pulling points out, setting up points efficiently and effectively, maybe pulling it out, getting some range fights, and knowing how to kite around teams is very important.
yeah, well, and when you say kiting meta, can you expand on that to people that might not
Yeah.
understand what that is, what the current meta is, even right now?
Yep.
Just give us an overview.
So in a lot of these maps, there's a lot of area to move around the point. So like with C4 having remote drop, maybe even Vortex being a little bit good in this meta, it's very strong to just set up your point, play off of it. As we saw Telco and Aimers do, they were playing off their point, really forcing one team to either play hide and seek and waste a lot of time on the point, or to go and force that point, get the drop, get some good advantage, some height advantage over them, maybe even getting some damage on that C4, getting any sort of slight advantage on point, because once you are in control of that point, you can kind of set the pace. So that's essentially what is going on. When people are looking for you, you can just kite around and play hide and seek. And that's really why Winch is very strong in this meta, because if you do find them during this hide and seek time, you can winch them and really take off a pick very effectively. And that's also why DMAT's pretty good, because not only can it help you find people and search for people while they're hiding, but it can also allow you to be the people that find them if you are attacking the point. So that's what I mean by kiting meta. It's very strong to just like buy your time and force a team into one point, because then you know exactly where they are, you know? There's no
Yeah,
hiding
yeah.
once you're taking the point.
Interesting. I've really never heard it described as hide and seek, but you are absolutely correct. That is what happens. So really interesting to see that is turning into the meta. And you're right, it is very powerful and really strong. Yeah, production. Could you say again who we will be watching next? We are not certain.
Yep. And we can up. Yeah. And on
Gotcha.
the bracket side, we do have Saints 1 pulling off a 2-0
Hmm.
victory over OP Aimers, as well as B6 taking a win over Aura LLC. Unfortunately, I would have loved to see Aura LLC push a little bit more, because I know some of these players, and we had Drac, Ink, and Fire Eyes on that team, and that would have been a fun team to watch. But the team that did take the lead is B6, and who's on that team is Bounce Basics and Bub 1X, and that's like another very strong team. I've seen them in the last tournament; they know what to do exactly. So definitely, it would have been a great match to see. And on,
And you know what
yeah,
I'm noticing is that there's not a single team that went to a third match. All of
yeah,
these were 2-0s.
mm-hmm,
So, that is kind of what you want to see from the first, brackets, because it means that the teams are at least kind of getting sorted properly. They're getting in their placement where the true better team should be moving forward.
yeah, good
Whether
seeding.
you want to argue with me or not in chat, whether these are good setups, go for it. But yeah, I think Saints won. Everybody's aware of that team. I'm glad that they've moved forward. OP Aimers. I'm not sure of that team. I don't think I've ever heard of them. Oh, Derp.
OP
Yeah,
Aimers is Derp, Munches, and Clarify. That's also a very strong team. Like
Clarify. Yeah.
taking a 2-0 loss against Saints 1 is tough.
Dang. Yeah, I do love Mr. Derp's gameplay, so I'm sad that we won't be getting out of that today. But yeah, we have already some really great teams that are moved on to this next round. It does seem like we are waiting for a couple more
Mhm.
matches to finish up. But yeah, I guess in the meantime, look, we were having a discussion about the light, heavy, medium setup for this meta currently. What are your thoughts on kind of, let's go to just kind of the opposite of that. What is the most annoying loadout for you to go against? Is it like three heavies? Is it three mediums all running, defib? What do you always
I
kind
mean,
of like hate to go against?
as a heavy player myself, the most boring matchup in the entire game is probably going to be a winch mirror match as well as like having that FAMAS and LH1 against me because and sometimes in these matchups, if you're both playing rooftops, like the heavy's doing nothing. So like you
Yep.
feel like the victim class a little bit to like just sit there and play range because a lot of times you're playing SA12 and like really being that brawler up close, but the transition between those range fights right now and that close range fight is a little unorthodox in some of these points. So on Monaco, if you get some forest points, it can be really weird to just like let your lights and mediums poke. The
Yeah.
one thing I'd say about the current meta is how aimers really approached the HML matchup, and they wanted to force that light into those close range engagements, which is very smart. It can be tough though, however, if you don't take control of the point. Like being the team that is forced to attack, which is why I think we saw Tokyo take that 1 point, is because they were to get good value with that LH1, play that range, and play the high ground. Once they have control, you can kind of set the range in which you fight. But as soon as we saw aimers really take their point and play defensively, they were able to box up, force close range engagements, and play the ranges that really work for them. That was very smart play in this kind of meta matchup. So it was very good to see heavy, medium, medium kind of really being able to really push against the HML narrative right now.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a really interesting take on it. And I think what's interesting is, do you ever think that we'll see more than one light in play?
So
Yeah,
that's an interesting question because the comp that I think is the best for double light might be heavy light light. And I've
really?
kind of maybe wanted to try around with that. Like, I think it's a little
Okay.
unorthodox, but with double gateway and some of these
Mm,
maps, like having two LH1s, it's very map specific because, like, you need to be able to play those long ranges with that LH1 because it's just so easy right now and does so much damage for how easy it is to use. So it's
yeah,
kind of map dependent. But I do think there could be situations where heavy light light do shine. The one map that's obviously on that radar is like Kyoto and maps like that like really force those outside engagements.
oh
Maybe
sure.
Bernal a little bit because like you have to play those rooftops and like rotating can be really tough in some of these streets. But generally, I think Kyoto is like going to be the best map to have like a double light meta.
Mm, yeah, interesting. And what are your thoughts on the rework of Kyoto recently? They removed and from I'll just say my perspective of it real quick because I'm a CL40 main. Throw whatever shade you want in the chat. I come from Quake, so I love the CL40. But one of the biggest things that they did for me on Kyoto is that they removed a lot of the bamboo. Because what I would run into is I would try and move and track somebody, and my shot would just be completely intercepted by this bamboo. And now it seems like they removed probably about 60% of it. So I still run into the issue, but it's still, I don't know, it's more fun. So
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on the changes basically to that map? Is it more viable? Because we don't see it in competitive, but what do you think?
So I think it's definitely more viable with the removal of bamboo. I always say Kyoto's underrated, but it really depends on the meta that we're in. Like for a close range meta, I think it could be good, but during that time when you had the shotgun meta, the model meta, it was really annoying because you had that bamboo. But the one change that really made people like say, oh, okay, this is like an okay map was the snowy variation. Having that frozen water really makes things more on an even playing field because a lot of times on some of these points, you can just drop the cash out in the water and then these teams are just sitting ducks. I think that's like probably the most influential change on Kyoto that we've seen in a long time. The removal of the bamboo helps with the lag and the optimization of the map, as well as the ice the water being ice allows people to rotate more effectively and kind of makes there less dead zones on the map. Obviously, I think the one reason people don't like it is because the map is so big and the rotations can be tough because there's a lot of open area.
Yeah, and I actually have a theory that we that the snow variation will probably be the main variation for that map. My one theory to back that up is basically we saw that the launch of the PS4 version and the I think Xbox whatever it is
Mm-hmm.
of this launch as well, and basically turning the water portion into a frozen solid area makes the improvement in FPS. I think that it makes it just a better map overall because you're not having to render all of that water, the physics for that and everything. So I don't know about you, but every map of Kyoto that I've been on this season has only been the snow variation. I haven't seen a single
Yep.
one different, and I have a feeling that that's what it's going to be going forward. We're going to see as that changes, but yeah, we'll that's my theory anyway. Um,
Yeah, I
so
hope we keep that variation. The only time I've experienced lag is when the pagoda, the top middle tower, really gets knocked down. That's the only time I've experienced
yep.
lag currently. The last time I played on it on a competitive variation during last season, we were still getting alien invasions and stuff like that, and that really threw a wrench in Kyoto. And I lost a fight during alien invasion on suspended structures because there was so much lag and so
No.
much server lag. We still came out on top, but it was just infuriating to see how much lag that map still had. But I think it's gotten a little bit better optimized. So I hope the community kind of opens up their heart to the map a little bit and maybe accepts it a little bit more. But I definitely see why people don't like it.
Yeah, and I mean to point out, it's not in this matchup today. Like we will not see
Hmm.
Kyoto. I think that yeah, it's just kind of not what you would expect as a traditional map. But you're right. I think that people will be kind of opening their hearts to it going forward. But look at this. We do have another match that will be happening very shortly between NTO versus B6. What are your thoughts on these teams?
Yeah. So on NTO, we have NA Ghost, Thorax, and Olavi or Olavi coming in as the team for NTO. And on B6, we have Bounce Basics and Bubix or Bub 1X. So that should be an interesting matchup. I definitely have heard of B6, but NTO is a team that I'm unfamiliar with. Do you have any information on them?
No. I'm looking through my notes for any of these players, and nope, not a single one on this entire matchup. So this will be exciting for me. I do keep kind of a binder of notes on players, and yeah, I don't have any of these. So I will be adding some entries after this matchup to see who I should kind of follow, who I should keep note of. And going forward in this, because yeah, to me, these are two teams that have made it past the first round. They made
Mm-hmm.
it 2-0s in their last matchup. So to me, that says that hey, they have something. They're definitely not here just accidentally. They've beat up and dropped out some of these top teams that I would consider top teams, or at least top players in their teams. So yeah, I'm excited, and I think production told me that B6 stands for something beforehand. Um, Bingo, bango, bongo, bish, bash, bosh. So that's what it is, and that is the only time that I will say that tonight. Uh, but yeah, really kind of fun, creative name.
So one thing to note about NTO is that they did beat KTU, which has Kip Kip, Mr. Tinder, and Unfortunate on them. And those are players that are pretty well known in the community and nothing to scoff at. Kip Kip playing typically with a Poe and Pure Strafes as that team. So it's definitely he's a good heavy and nothing to scoff at. So this team must NTO must have something up their sleeve that as their breakout tournament. So it'd be interesting to
Uh,
see what they bring to this next matchup against B6.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, do you know? Have you run into any of these players before, like at all? Do you know if
I
they
have
run light,
not
medium,
run into
heavy?
anyone on NTO. I don't think I recognize any of these names. I'm not sure if they're EU players or NA, because if they are EU, that might be why I don't know of them.
Mm. Well, okay, that brings up an interesting topic as we wait for this map to get loaded in. Um, the NA versus EU. I've seen a lot of EU tournaments. I've seen a lot of NA tournaments, and I've seen a lot of NA teams versus EU teams go against each other. From your perspective, even as a player that's been in a lot of these tournaments, what do you think the differences are between NA players and EU players? I guess first off, do you think that there is? I think that the answer is yes.
Mhm.
But what is your perspective on this whole thing, NA versus EU?
So, I mean, in any game, there's definitely differences between regions, and especially in this game, you see a lot of different playstyles really taking hold. Typically, in most games, NA players are a little bit more aggressive than EU or Asian players. I'm not really sure what the reason is, but that's typically what you see in a lot of fighting games. team hero games and stuff like that. So I don't think this is any exception. We see a lot of NA players really being aggressive, although still able to play the kite meta very effectively. Whereas we see like the one of the better teams like Aimers really play a little bit more defensive and control based, where they like when they're attacking a point, they like to force point in a sneaky way with that drop and really play off of that. So in this game, that's kind of like the major difference in terms of like how people attack points versus like in terms of defending points. I think there's a lot of overlap that we see on NA and EU. The one difference potentially being is EU does love their DMAT pads, and NA is kind of does that, but they generally like setting up and kiting a little bit more than EU does, although both teams very good at it. Other than that, on attacking a point, that's where the major differences lie. You see aimers really like using their DMAT to their advantage to kind of force point, whereas maybe NA will look more towards playing that hide and seek situation, trying to look for the
Yeah.
team, whereas EU likes forcing points.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, and I think one of the things that I've noticed is that for some reason it seems to be NA teams are more aggressive over the vault. I've seen a lot of EU teams to seem to just kind of either avoid the fight, get the vault started, or at least even opened,
Mm-hmm.
and then do the fight. But it seems like NA teams, no matter what, every time there's a vault, there's going to be a vault fight, and one team is going to end up wiping. So that's from my perspective. That's what I've seen. But yeah,
Yeah.
those I think you definitely hit all the other kind of aspects that are EU versus NA, and I think it's cool to see that there
Mm-hmm.
are differences, whether they're slight or not. Do you think that it's harder to go up against an EU team, or it's harder to go up an NA team when you're playing?
I think both have their strengths in terms of their strategies. I do want to kind of crawl back and talk about that vault fight scenario because I
Yeah,
think EU's patience is something that NA is learning a little bit more and has kind of shifted towards vault fights because I think people are realizing how important those vault fights can
hmm,
be to get control of the cash out. So I think people are becoming a little bit more patient. I know in my experience, I always really valued patience in setting up positioning on those vault fights. Putting the cash outs to your back is going to be your biggest advantage on the first vault fight because then you can control the space or really getting a good vantage point over the vault because you don't want to be the team necessarily that's tapping every time because that's basically UAV for the other team, allowing them to know, okay, there is at least one player on that vault tapping it. And we're about to hop into this next match. It looks like it's going to be Fortune Stadium. Sorry to cut off a little
Ooh,
bit early,
no
but
worries.
it's going to be an interesting matchup here.
Yeah, no, and we can definitely put that discussion in our cap and come back to it because I think that there's a lot more there to kind of dive into, and even something that I might dive into on one of my podcast episodes because I think that
Mhm.
there's a lot there. But here we go, hopping into Fortin Stadium. Personally, this is my favorite map. For those of you that don't know, this map is designed really well, in my opinion, because there are 5 little islands basically that the map is set up on, and each island increases 1 level. So we have a island that starts on level 1, and the 5th island goes all the way to 5 levels. So what this means is that you have a lot of really dynamic gameplay that can happen here, in the fact that like you have cash out stations that spawn on the very top of 5th level, and there's a lot of places to drop, or you have a lot of really close combat that happens on the very first level. So in my opinion, very cool map. They did take a lot of things from their other maps, but I overall feel like it's a very
Mhm.
successful map. So here we go, hopping into it. We have Orange team, which is can't tell just yet. Um,
It looks
B6.
like basics. B6.
Okay.
B6, yes. And both teams are going to be playing heavy, medium, medium with DMAT and heals as well as Winch. So it's a mirror matchup as we see Orange team getting the height advantage. Pink team getting a little bit of a bad spawn here, not getting that hospital point to their backs. And Orange team may rotate quickly, but it's going to be interesting to see if they play their time as they look to get control of this vault. Pink team's going to have to make some sort of aggressive play here or buy their time, shoot them on the cross. The big thing here is trying to stop whoever is going to get that vault from getting to that hospital point. So this vault fight, like we were just discussing, means a lot.
Yeah, and we see them set up, and basically we're seeing the exact standstill that we saw before. But there's the first person from Pink Team pushing in, and probably for a bad push, because they lose half their health right away. There's a Winch Claw going off from the Pink Team as well. Orange Team is able to get one kill in there, and Pink Team is rushing down to get it. It looks like they do get the res off, but one member from Orange Team is really low. It looks like they're making the retreat to go up on top. Maybe he's going for a wipe. Did he do that intentionally? I think he did, just to get his team entirely reset and not give them the kill. Kind of a sloppy engagement. It seems like the first time that either team runs into each other, it's not very clean yet, from what I'm seeing.
I'm surprised Pink Team won that. Getting that surprise jump pad right on top of Orange Team. It looked like a little bit shaky, but they did manage to win out that fight. And now they get to take control of this hospital point, flying these jump pad angles, and let's see if they get some clean beams on them as they rotate over. It's gonna be interesting to see how B6 likes to push this point, because this can be a tough one.
Yeah, and honestly, just having that advantage where you can set up this Pink Team and just beam people as they come in. We did see that one person from Orange Team took a lot of damage just on the approach. They were able to get there, and now it does look like the entire team is healed up, and they're starting to go and advance going into the stairs. Maybe not. They're working their way in. They are taking their time, which might not be the best strategy because the time is slowly kicking down. We're almost halfway through this first cash out, and the advance is just now starting. That great RPG goes for the winch, but he's unable to get it because it goes through the floor, and now they are chasing. We see the dome shield go off. Orange team is getting pulled off. One team from Pink is down very low. There's their heavy. He goes down finally. Gets chased by the member on Orange team. And it does look like another person just went down. Orange team does get the wipe. They did a good fight, a good job of staying up for a really long time, but they just were unable to really secure those kills that they needed. In that fight.
And getting that winch cut off really put a wrench in their plan, allowing Pink team to continually take that height. They did have a good heavy fight, taking out that heavy relatively early, but their mediums were just able to get enough damage against the other mediums, really winning that fight.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're not going to have much time here. Orange team may not even have time to force the point as they get a far spawn here. They're going to throw some pre-nades, missing both of them, and they're going to have to make an aggressive push dematting pad into there, but that heavy gets taken out so early as the medium jumps in one by one, and he's just going to jump off the edge. He's going to take that first point and give it to Pink.
Yeah, Sector 6 is literally one of the strongest points in the entire game. Just because if you couldn't tell, they dematted kind of that wall right in front of them, and it gives them the perfect vantage point. There's only one place for you to advance into the point, and it makes it where, yeah, we saw that beam. It looked like they focused on their heavy and then focused on the medium in both teams. Both of them just went down immediately, and then that other medium just decided to jump off. So really kind of disappointing if you are having to push that, because it is just a very hard thing to go. But wow, they are just hopping right back into this fight, not even worrying about the vault. We see Orange team making the advance, trying to show that they have some dominance left in them. There is one of them going down to half health. They are trying to get any shots off, but that FAMAS just follows him down and chases him. Pink team is able to get the res off on their member. RPG goes off directly and hits one of them right away. Pink team is setting back up, trying to go for the chase. I'm not sure if they're going for the fight, if they're trying to chase him down. He's on the stairs, which is a place you do not want to be caught out. And there's the last member from the Orange team going down. So yeah.
The one thing that I saw going into this match is that Orange team swapped away from the HML comp to this heavy medium, and I would have loved to see light on this map. It seems very strong to be able to shoot people on these rooftops, because then you can force them inside and really play aggressively. These buildings may seem pretty tight, but they're actually pretty open and have some good line of sights.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, even in here, there are plenty of nice open areas for them to fight in, and it does look like they are getting set up on the rooftop and just waiting for the advance. The Orange team is starting to push in, and they need to make something happen pretty much right away. Let's see if they're able to get the steal on this cash out.
Purple team Pink team just gonna demat above, but they do get the drop on him. Let's see if they capitalize on this medium getting dropped down as the heavy looks to chase him, getting back shots from this Pink team heavy, and it looks like it's gonna be a clean 2v1 here for this heavy getting heel botted.
Yep, and you gotta love that puppy dogging him around. It's where the medium is just healing him and letting the heavy do whatever he can. And yeah, it is just a force, because basically you can't do as much damage to a heavy as he's being healed up as they can do to you. So it's a really kind of a cool strategy to see that medium just go from, now I'm not gonna fight, I'm gonna heal, I'm gonna let my beam pretty much overcharge or get right up to it, and just ensure that my team can be, the force that they need to.
And they're just gonna beam them, and that's the Gamma over.
Oh.
Basic's taking some big damage here as he's gonna get healed up by his medium healer. The big thing here is getting their team full health before they push here, because they don't have much time. And they're gonna make a double pad play and get some good damage on this pink team, but they get knocked off their roof. Pimple getting dropped down here, and they get a pick. They're gonna have to go for this res. This is 3v1 here against this heavy, and this heavy's, I think, has to do something, but he's just gonna jump off the edge and take an L potentially.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing he can do. Even if his team respawns 24 seconds, cash out will be done.
Yeah.
So that will be the first round going to pink team, which is totally blanking on their name real quick. It's not the B6.
NTO.
NTO, that is correct. So well done, NTO. Really strong performance from them. Honestly, they seem to be dominant. They were able to get the wipes. I think the one thing was it seemed like the B6 seemed to just give up pretty easily. Like one person went down and just the fighting stopped and they would just jump off. I get that that's a strategy, but at the same time, like go for some more damage, go down in fighting, just to show that you can contend with these boys. You can contend with what they're doing. So yeah, I don't know.
I think B6 just took way too much damage on while they're rotating to the point, and as we see, like that's how strong some of these points are. Once you get control on this map, you can just fire down rain and rain down hell on these teams and really get them low. They just got some great value as they were rotating over, whether it was nades or whether it was the triple beams on top of this team. They just had more firepower.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And it really is the setup because they just having that open window, and if you're able to get one person down to half health, like that is just putting pretty much one person out of commission for the next fight, because you either have to stay hidden or have a medium heal you. There's just so much variation that throws off your plan of, hey, let's be aggressive, let's push in, when it's like, no, hold on, wait, I need to wait 10 seconds, I need to wait 6 seconds to get the healing back up, just whatever. But just putting one person out of position in a 3v3 turns it into 3v2, and people can do some basic math out there, and basically 3v3 will win almost every time. So here we go, loading into the next map on Cis Horizon. Any thoughts on Cis Horizon?
I think a lot of people consider Cis Horizon to be one of the most balanced maps in the game. You have a good variation of range as well as close range engagements here. And it looks like they're going to be taking an HML approach here from B6, which I do like that they're going to be doing, because the LH1 can outbeam this double medium if they are going to stay with that composition. The LH1 being very potent at getting headshot damage and really taking out mediums pretty easily. If you can get any damage on that medium heal beam, that is going to be permanent damage, quote unquote, for at least 9 seconds here. So it's going to be pretty good to see that LH1 and see how much value they get. But anyways, going back to the map, it's one of the most balanced maps in the game. There's a lot of different strategies in terms of the kite meta and rotating around, and this middle buildings are going to force some close range engagements. Looks like Orange Team is going to try and get this high ground here, as they now know where Pink Team's going to be setting up.
Yep, and there they are, getting ready for anybody to make a mistake, make a move. We see there's the DMAT, so they are going right for it. One person from Orange is really out of position. Can Pink Team see this and get a chance to jump on him? But no, it looks like they're able to kind of get back into formation. All of Pink Team is there. There is the fighting going off all through that little tiny window. It does look like Orange Team took a lot of damage in that first fight. There is the dome shield going down, forces them all to go into the stairwell, which is not the place you want to be. A lot of damage going off from Pink Team, and boy, Orange Team just gets wiped right away. B6, come on, guys. Let's see something. You guys barely got 250 damage on this last fight. Yikes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they need to do to really take some advantage. I think they just got some, Pink Team just got some great nade value and really got some good angles there. They used the tap to their advantage there. They drew a lot of focus in on the vault while they got the tap and just rotated around looking for them and got some clean shots in the back. And Bounce taking some big damage here, but he's going to get that back up pretty quickly as they rotate to get some good positioning over this. They need to regroup here and not take too much damage, as their heavy is going to be rotating to low ground, resetting.
Yeah, and they're
pushes aggressively with the push here. they're gonna get some good value on this dome, but that medium 1v1 is gonna end in Pink's team favor as they get the wipe.
All right, so this is what I'm seeing. Orange team is just splitting up. They are not pushing as a team, and we saw this in the very first fight when they decided to take the engagement from that little tiny hole in the wall, and then they eventually dematted it. But by the time they did, they ended up having two people with low health. Their heavy couldn't do anything; they can't see through that hole. And honestly, they do not seem to be working as a team. And
Yeah.
I can see this. I've seen so many teams where their communication just breaks down. We saw that Pimple hopped over there, or he was bounced, and he just started to move in and tried to get a little bit of information, but he immediately got beamed down to half health, and it just seems sloppy. And I think that they are kind of scrambling. Maybe they're scared. I don't know what's going on, but here is the advance. Can they make something happen? They throw the goo. Great spot for that goo, and they're able to break that C4. It does drop the point, and they are all scrambling to get around it. We see one of the orange team goes down. He tries to get the res off, but look at that. They swarm him before he's able to get that res. And honestly, if he would have, it would have just brought him up right and just to die again. There are 0 kills from B6 right now. They were doing much better last map. So, guys, what happened? What's going on?
Yeah, I agree with your analysis. I think they're scrambling and not having as much good teamwork as we expect from this team. I think the one big thing that I would like to see is, especially with that first push, they have plenty of time to set up an offensive. You know, as long as you set up one good offensive, that's all you need to really take these cash outs. If you can get some good damage, get some good picks, good angle, good position, and you have 2 minutes to set up an offensive. Let's slow it down a little bit, and maybe they'll be a little bit less chaotic in their teamwork here.
Yep, I completely agree. And here we go. Vault 2 has spawned. Looks like Orange is finally beaming one person from the Pink team, but Pink team is deciding to capitalize on this and go with the aggression that they can dole out. There's one person down from the Pink team. They get the res off. A lot of fighting happening in this one corridor. Nades going off. One of the Pink team members down to half health. Their heavy is running away, trying to get a better vantage point. He's set up now. Smoke has gone off. There is the winch claw, pulls their heavy out and gets the wipe. Boy, Orange team finally gets a couple kills here, but it doesn't mean much when they're not able to work as a team and get the last few wiped.
Yeah, luckily for Orange team that this fight did not mean as much as some of the others because that vault wasn't tapped. They're going to have time to spawn in and potentially have the cash outs at their back, getting one more fight before this gets put in. So this could be a good advantage state for Orange team here. It's going to be a matter of where they read they're going to rotate to.
And honestly, this is a really good spot because it can be winched out, it can be pulled out more to the open. So if they're able to get the foot on B, it's going to be very hard for Pink team to push, or for Orange team to push into this. And we see the fighting happening on this rooftop. A lot of Orange team members have gone down to half health. They are taking more damage. One of them down completely. There's the gateway. Everybody's chasing through that gateway. Orange team member just going down as well. And there's the last one, and he will go down for that wipe. That FAMAS is doing damage. Can we see the scoreboard real quick? Because I want to see how many kills. Yeah, the Pink team, they are working together. Look at all the assists. Yeah. And this is a great way of telling if a team is working well together. You see that Thorax with only 3 kills, but he's there for every other kill for his teammate because he's got 7 assists and over 2K on support score, and even the objective score, which is probably the least important of this entire numbers. But you can really see the cohesion in a team and see that they are working just really well together.
Look at this light as well. He needs to play more off angles, get some good damage, pull some of the attention away from their core, medium and heavy. They need to do something, change up their game plan a little bit here to really take this lead. They do get a good spawn on cash out, so they have some sort of advantage here. Let's see if they can really push it as one of them gets picked out, and he's gonna get that res on that light, dematting him down. Pretty safe option. And let's see if they can reset for the final minute of this cash out.
Yeah, they need to make something happen, and I believe in this team. I think that they can do it. They just need to really get something working, and there is the light. He is gone in Viz. He's trying to look for any information that he can. He's staying close to that medium because they need to really make something work. There's the gateway waiting for the connect.
I think this heavy might be down, and they're just going to wait for the respawn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I was wondering why there were only two of them there, and yeah, but now they look really split up. This is not what I would expect from an orange team. Time is running out. There's the heavy from orange team. He finally does meet up with the medium. No idea where the light is at this time, but they really have one last push. It seems like they are all converging, but this is not together. They are split up, and it looks like pink team is taking advantage of that. One of them goes down. One of them on pink team goes down as well. There is the res, but they are all getting chased, and this is the solo medium. This is why you don't get split up from your team. Now it's all down to this light member, and he is not going to be able to do anything. He's able to get one
Oh,
kill. I take that back, but
he almost
that
clutched up there.
he did almost get a clutch, but it is kind of frivolous because there is the end, and there's the timer.
Yeah. And that's a clean 2-0 victory for NTO. Moving ahead in this bracket here, so it's going to be interesting to see if they continue to dominate against some of these teams here. They're playing pretty well as a team and playing these fights and rotating around these cash outs aggressively and extremely well, buying their time and getting the pushes that they need.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, look at the kills as we lay them out. So Olaf with 10 kills, and Nagos with eight assists, and Thorax with 3 but 9 assists. So really good teamwork. It seems like their medium was really working well to kind of keep their team together, keep that kind of cohesion, and keep them going together. So yeah, it's really what you want to see going forward. So 2-0 again. Are we okay, so we've seen so many 2-0s, which is exciting for me. Maybe not from you all the viewers, but to me this means that as we get into the higher brackets, we are going to see the teams that have basically been undefeated to this point, and they are going to really have a battle headed towards them.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Most of these fights have been clean 2-0s.
Mhm.
Almost every single match in the bracket has been a 2-0, which is crazy to see.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
we
I
know
mean,
what's going on with this one round one match that has not been updated though?
oh, yeah, I am not sure, but it does look like the goats advanced from the bottom. But yeah, we do have one that is still fighting. So maybe there was an issue with their lobby. Maybe somebody dropped. Maybe we're getting a sub in. Tons of things can happen when you have a lot of people playing in a bracket like this. So yeah, I don't know. Production, do you have any notes or thoughts on 000 versus High Ground Warriors? What's going on there? Gotcha. So production just let us know that it is they had a few delays, but it is currently 1-0 for 000. So we are waiting for that last bracket, and we are also waiting to see who NTO will be playing against. I think let's talk about the bracket right there: Rolls Royce and Saints One. Saints One, a lot of really good team members, even somebody very familiar on
Hmm.
the Prohubs, and that's MXKX, also known as Mickey, Emilian, and someone. So really great team setup there. Know all those players really well. What are your thoughts on kind of on Saints One?
I think they got a really strong team, and I know they play together a lot. They are up against a top tier team with Lasagna, Leo, and Salvo. So that would have been an amazing match to see. That would have been two top tier teams to see really who comes out on top here. A full roller stack as well, mind you, on Rolls Royce against the EU team of Mickey, Emilian, and someone. Like that could swing any way. I think it really comes down to who really gets some advantage moving into some of these EU or NA matches. I think that one's going to come down to a game three. That's my hunch here.
Okay. Yeah, well, and I know Salvo from Rolls Royce, but I've heard this name a lot, Lasagna, but I don't have any notes on him. What can you tell me about Lasagna?
Lasagna is a top tier flex player. He plays every class extremely well. He's been
Oh,
around the game since season one. I think I've seen him in KR scrims going dating back to season one. Played a lot against him in season two ranked, and he streams a lot. So he's definitely
okay.
interesting to check out. He's definitely not safe for work in some of his comms. So beware, but he is super entertaining and a top tier player. But Leo also coming in from Rolls Royce, being we've had him on as a sub for Apes, and he is a
Okay.
crazy flex player as well. He is one of the best controller aimers. I think that whole stack is all top tier aimers for controller. Like, if I had to
Really?
name a top 5 for controller, they would all be there.
That's amazing. I love the fact that controller players can be as competitive as mouse and keyboard players. Do you think that there's a disadvantage there, or maybe an advantage to using a controller? Or what are your thoughts on controller players? Because I don't yeah I don't really know.
So, I mean, watching from their perspective, it seems like there's no difference between the keyboard and mouse and controller. Like, they just do it so well. Salvo especially has some of the best aim in the game on roller. But surprisingly enough, I did play some as a keyboard mouse player. I did play some controller the other day and kind of feeling out the aim assist. It feels extremely strong in this game. So I think keyboard and mouse and controller are on a pretty even playing field. Obviously, without a lot of practice, missing shots on some of these range weapons can be tough and really hard to hit your range weapon shots. But generally, I think you're pretty evenly matched up close in those mid-range engagements. So I think there's pretty even. It could go either way. There is a lot of buttons and actions per minute that you
Yeah.
see in this game, so that could be one disadvantage from controller, especially as a heavy. There's a lot of APM, actions per minute, required of that class, like throwing down your dome, swapping to your shotgun, meleeing between the 4 bursts, 4-tap melee to get optimized damage and everything like that. So there's a lot of actions per minute. That's the only class that I'm questioning whether or not it's going to be better on keyboard and mouse and controller. I think it's probably going to sway to more towards keyboard and mouse for that one class in particular. But overall, medium and light could go either way.
Interesting. And I'm curious because, like, on the Reddit, people often recommend that if you have a PlayStation controller, that you use the motion controls for aiming. I don't know if that's a thing. Again, I last time I probably used a controller was a couple of years ago, so I haven't
Yeah.
really done it in a while. But I'm curious if anybody at the top uses that. I might even have to message some of these people that are using controller just to see their setup, because I'm curious if that is kind of one of their ways that they work with the I want to say slight disadvantage that a controller has, and you did point
Yeah.
out that it does have a little disadvantage for heavy. So yeah, I love it. I love that it's viable. I used to play a lot of Halo, and the fact that most of the players there even use controller, and mouse and keyboards in the minority, is really interesting. And just the fact that here it's a viable thing. So interesting topic, but it does look like we have our next matchup. And as Marita types that out for everybody, it is Triple O versus the Goats. You want to give us a rundown of these two teams?
Yeah, so Triple O did best High Ground Warriors in a 2-1 in round 1. So going into this next round 2, it's going to be 0-0 with Roma, Deiz, and Moy really coming up against the Goats, being Carnifex, Mauser, and Treason. I definitely know the name Carnifex Mauser. I think I'm somewhat familiar with Treason, but I haven't seen him play, to be honest with you. But I definitely know Carnifex is going to probably be sticking to that light, being a top tier light player, and Mauser probably on medium as well. And I mean, filling in the gaps, Treason's probably going to be on heavy.
Yeah, and Treason's the only one of that list that I don't have in my notes. So I'm curious to see what he plays, what his performance is like, so that I can add him in there. So yeah, the Goats definitely has some players that have been around and really done it. And then on Triple O, Roma, Dees, and Moy. I recognize Dees, but not Roma or Moy. So are you familiar with any of those players?
I am not. Do you have anyone in your? Do you have D's in your notebook there?
Yeah, I have seen him once, and that is it. I
Mhm.
don't really have any specifics on him. So D's is in there, but nothing important.
Yeah.
So we will see. But
Well,
they've made it this far, so they definitely have some good performances already. It looks like the Triple O has beaten out High Ground Warriors, and the Goats beat out Aim Assist Abuse. So yeah, definitely some really good setups, and we'll have to see as we get loaded in.
yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. I think 0-0 probably has a slight uphill battle against the Goats, being some great veterans in this comp scene as well as in the game as a whole. Carnifex coming in season 1, and I think Mauser was there too. So they definitely have their experience, and they're gonna have to fight against the odds probably. But them taking a 2-1 victory over High Ground is gonna push some confidence in their way, really having to play 3 matches. So they're gonna be a little bit warmer than the Goats. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they're coming off this one match moving into this. So should be good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, it looks like it will be on Vegas. We've already talked about Vegas. But I want to throw this out there. I was actually watching the movie Con Air just a couple days ago. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it. Probably one of my favorite Nicolas Cage films ever. So if you guys are a fan of Nicolas Cage's acting, and I put that in air quotes, absolutely check it out. But a fun thing about this is that at the very end of the movie, no spoilers, it ends with them in Las Vegas on the exact strip that the map is from. So it was really kind of funny because I was pointing out to my wife. I was like, "Oh, look, I've been there. I see that," you know. And it's like I've blown that up several times, and there's the sign, and it's just very cool. Just fun to see that these maps are really well crafted, really with a lot of love, a lot of like care, crazy attention to detail. And from a destruction perspective, I absolutely love blowing up Las Vegas, which probably just got me on a ton of lists. But I just think that the destruction is fun and it's just a really cool dynamic map. So just throwing that out there for anybody that is a Nicolas Cage fan or a fan of Vegas.
I think that's a good point because the devs really put a lot of attention to detail. I think saw on the Reddit a few days ago comparing Monaco with the real life Monaco and it being extremely accurate.
Yep.
So it's definitely cool to see, and as well as seeing some pictures of Las Vegas, like you're saying. A lot of these maps have a lot of love and care in them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they move forward with some of these new map variations, and especially with Bernal being a new map that they added and seeing how much love they put into this game. And
Yeah.
we're going to go over with 000 playing an HML comp. They're going to be playing Winch, DMAT, and Invis, it looks like, with an M11, which is going to be a great weapon, but it does fall off on range a little bit. So they're going to have a little bit better time playing some of these mid-range engagements, which could be good for this Las Vegas map.
Yeah, and it looks like another kid would probably be D's. Just looking at the list. So
Yeah.
Orange team will be 000, and the Goats will be
With
pink.
Mauser on heavy.
Okay,
That should be good. This should be a fun time.
will be interesting.
Did we
So
see
here-
what specializations they're playing on? I definitely saw Winch on Mauser. And it's probably going to be light on Invis on Carnifex, but I'm not too sure what their medium is going to be playing, whether it's DMAT or heals.
Yep, it's hard to tell until they get using it with the current UI, but we
Yeah.
are working with the limitations that we get. Here is Pink Team setting up on the Mega Dome. They do DMAT below, and they're able to see Orange Team right below them. They continue on hopping all around, working their way to Vault 1. I think that they are going to try and stay up on this Mega Dome as long as they can until at least somebody taps that first vault, because that is kind of locating and indicating that they are all right there. So here's the setup. Orange Team is below. And yeah, waiting for the first person to make a move. There's Pink Team. I'm not sure if they fell accidentally, but there they go. They go with the tap. They are getting a lot of firepower just right away. They knew that they would be hopping up from that little entrance in the building, but there is the FAMAS going off. They throw the APS down, but immediately pick it back up. Orange Team is scrambling, just trying to stay on top of this team. It does look like the DMAT goes down. Orange Team falls down onto the next level. They hop back up, but one of them gets down right away from that shotgun. Their heavy shotgun does seem to be doing a lot of work. They're chasing down Pink Team, and this is the wipe on Orange.
Yeah, that was actually really well played. Using their heavy as a little bit of a bait to go tap the point, while Carnifex and Treason stayed up top, getting some easy beams as Orange Team rotated, faking it out a little bit, thinking Orange Team, making Orange Team think they had the advantage on that fight, getting that high ground, but no. Carnifex and Treason just beaming down on top of them. They're going to set up on this point, likely going to have a C4 onto B and forcing Orange Team in. Let's see how Orange Team approaches this.
Yep, they're going for the setup. Pink Team is trying to get the high ground so that they can buy as much time as possible. They are kind of hopping all around. Orange Team is starting to make their advance. They throw the glitch grenade going off. It is popping right above their heads. I'm not sure why they did that exactly.
Taking out the gateway.
taking out the gateway. We do see Pink Team set up in the high ground there. They are getting a lot of damage off, but it looks like the steal is going off already from Orange Team. They throw a gateway trying to buy any bit of time, damage everything. Looks like the steal went off, and Orange Team is now in control. Pink Team is scrambling. Everybody from Orange Team is just hopping around. A lot of mid-air combat. There is the M11 dealing beam damage. One more. Can he get it? He can't. And Orange Team is wiped. Down to a 1v1.
That was a really close fight. Having Orange Team come in and steal that aggressively, getting that steal off and playing that gateway was very smart of them to easily allow their team to rotate out. It's just unfortunate they didn't get enough damage on these mediums taking their bounce pads. So it was down to the wire. And now Pink Team taking control back of the cash out. Gonna set up aggressively on this high ground. Play to shoot down on top of this point. Orange Team is probably gonna have to force this point. So they're not gonna have many options as Pink Team just plays the point.
And here we go. Here's the push. Orange Team really needs to get a kill right away and then followed up by the steal. But time is running out. We're down to the last 15 seconds, so they got about 7 seconds to get on this and hold it. But they are just waiting. They're stalling. There's a red barrel that goes off. They try and jump down, but I do not think that they have enough time. They're now going for the engagement, but again, this is taking down. There's that dome shield. There's the winch claw. And the winch is missed, and they are unable to get it. So they were able to get some kills in there, but it does not look like they were able to get anything really beyond that. And yeah, hate to see it. Orange Team really kind of I think that was an okay push from my perspective. It just seemed to just fall apart, and that is how it plays, unfortunately, sometimes in the finals.
Yeah, when you only have 30 seconds left, there's not many options. If a team knows how to kite around, they're not going to allow you to get that pick off early. Because like you said, if they do get that pick, they get a massive advantage in terms of stealing that point. It becomes a 2v2 essentially while one of your teammates is stealing that point. You have Bub down, APS, you can kind of defend yourself. But against a 3v3, like that fight just instantly turns into a 3v2 and you're almost cooked every time.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, this game really does come down to just making sure that you have your whole team with you, and then timings, because it sounds wild to have 2 minutes for a cash out, everything running down, 7 seconds for a steal, 5 seconds for a res, just everything comes down, just such precise timing, movement, gameplay. It's why I love the finals. And here we go. It looks like we are going to get Vault 2 put into cash out C. Orange Team is slowly making their advance on them, and yeah, they are starting to push. We are going to see this first engagement on this rooftop unless Orange Team decides to come in and drop it. Nope, there it is. There's that M11 getting chased down. Dome shield goes down. One of the Orange Team members is very low. Oh, he goes down as well. Look at that. They're so close, and they're dying one after another. They get the res off, but that will be the only member, and they might even just toy with this heavy player for just a little bit, just to buy some time. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. Nobody's engaging. There he is. He's trying to kill himself. They pull him out to buy more time. This is evil. What are they doing?
Evil. That was well played, knowing exactly how to stagger. That was a clinic right there. But getting some good damage there and winching him out of the poison was comical.
Yep. Yeah, I've never seen that. Normally there's some respect between the players that, okay, I'm trying to kill myself. I'm trying to get my team spawned back in, make sure that we have one more push. So they let them happen. But on maps like this, there's nowhere to jump off. It is very much you have to either blow yourself up, gas yourself, or anything. But here we go. Orange has one more push on this, maybe one more if they die right away. But there is the glitch grenade. We're watching that M11 from Xroma trying to get any movement, trying to get anybody from the pink team down. He's pushing with his team right now. Looks like one of them is glitched, gets winch clawed out of position. They fell down. I think one of them from Orange Team is down. There is the heavy trying to make anything happen and is down to just the heavy there, and he is the last alive again. Are they going to let him get a res off? Are they going to let him do anything? And no, they are just toying with him again. So I think that might be map right there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see both these lights going for SMG picks. Like,
yeah,
really playing to the strengths of Las Vegas and these inside areas. There's not many opportunities to get these LH1 beam unless you're playing that metal area, but most of these points are inside anyway. So it's really coming down to like how much damage these lights can get and how much off angles they can get. But we're seeing a good job by both teams bursting down each other's bubbles and not allowing that heavy to get too much value off the bubble. It's just coming down to the wires in some of these fights, but Conifex, the GOATs, coming in a little bit stronger on their fights.
Yeah, honestly, really great performance, and I loved that all of the fights that we saw really were, top level fights. They were on the rooftops. None of them were brought down further, and it does seem to be really kind of living or dying off of what the
Mhm.
light player is doing. And here we can see it that the light player only got 1 kill. I mean, medium player didn't get any. So Moy, I'm not sure what happened there, but it yeah, it can be so punishing at times, and yeah, you just don't know what to expect.
I definitely would like to see Carnifex's view a little bit more to see how these lights are navigating this light difference,
Yeah.
because a lot of it comes down to how people are using their thermals. And I assume both people are taking thermal into this match, because that would be a complete throw to not be using thermal. And one thing to note is, in terms of when you're experienced with thermal, you know exactly how to make that light difference. If you're standing on a high ground with a skybox to your back in thermal, you cannot see another light in vis. So whoever has the low ground has a massive disadvantage in this light thermal battle. So if Carnifex is positioning himself on top of these air vents while in vis, that other light thermal cannot see him. So that is one bug that's been in the game that allows people to really play around this thermal vision and really have some sort of skill expression against these thermal battles.
Yeah, and honestly, in my games, I've been seeing a lot of lights using thermal and then smoke, because I think that just the combination, you throw down
Yep.
the smoke, you can still see through it. Everybody that pushes in and just have that information. And if you have a light that's really good on communication, it's
Mhm.
amazing, because it's like, shoot to the left here and beam this guy, and then boom, they don't even know what's coming to him. So I love that thermal is being used. From my perspective, I really didn't see it used a lot before season 4, and I think season 5 is really taking it. But have you seen it used a lot previously, or is it kind of
I
a resurgence lately?
I mean, the only time you saw it previously was during TA, because that's the one time
Mhm.
where light really shined in the meta in terms
Yeah.
of the ranked game mode. However, in terms of like cash out or 3v3s, you didn't really see thermal that often, because light could easily just be almost one shot every time by RPGs and
Yep.
taken out so easily by SA12s. Um, but right now that we're seeing sort of a light renaissance, a light
Yeah.
resurgence in the meta, I do think that smoke thermal can be very powerful in cash out 12 mans.
Hmm.
However, like in 3v3s, when you pop a smoke, people will just rotate away from that. The only time where smoke really comes
Ah,
in clutch is when you're on the cash out itself and playing around that. So that's where those smoke grenades and thermal really has a play. Otherwise, you're just using thermal to diff the other light and playing
interesting.
around the way that works.
See, this is why I love casting with top level players, because I come at it from a very, like, I'm not a pro player. I just have a love for the meta, for the game, everything like that. But there is definitely a perspective that I miss out on. So I really appreciate that we are able to have conversations like this. But here we go. Let's see if 000 is able to make something happen on Skyway Stadium. We do have the high rise variation, probably one of my favorite variations in this Skyway Stadium mode. But yeah, I'm rooting for 000. I want to see them get their footing. I want to see that they can do something against the pink team. I think that they can, but let's see what they can make happen right now.
Yeah, Orange team taking control of this high ground. This is going to be a good position for them to be in to defend the vault, but pushing away from this pink team, if they do stay here, they're going to have the cash outs to their back and really be able to play their time and set the pace of this fight. As they get some good beams on Mauser as he crosses over. Let's see if they get some good damage on that medium. They're not going to commit to this fight, it looks like. They're just going to try and hold that high ground against this pink team. And pink team going to look for a gateway play, potentially a gateway pad. Oh, it looks like this Carnifex is going to look for some back shots here. Getting some
Oh,
good damage on everybody as they take down Orange team
what?
pretty convincingly there.
Yeah, that was wild. Carfinex came in with the flank and totally just threw them off guard. And then you could just see the hesitation as they tried to turn, but as they turned, they died. And yeah, gotta love to see it. Mauser came in there with the cleanup. And boy, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I keep harping on that. I think that where a lot of these teams are struggling is communication. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is something else. But that's something where you really need to be on top of it. Like, I just heard something behind me. You guys need to turn around. There just needs to be some cue, and there is plenty of audio cues in this game for that exactly to happen. But real quick to point out, they did just winch the point off of the top of the map. They put it in a more open area. They try and do that typically to make it where they have an advantage like they have now. They set up in a more a better vantage point basically, and they are forcing Orange to either push them or go for a very risky steal. So that's what we're seeing now. Orange pushes in, immediately their light goes down. Did not do any work. There's the winch claw pulled out from their heavy on Orange team. They were able to get a nice kill. Are they able to get something moving happening right now? There's the barricade going up. Everybody on Orange is still up, and they are chasing the last member on Pink team. But Pink team is doing some good damage, and I think that there's one medium up on Pink. He goes for the res, unable to get it, and there is the first wipe. Finally, we're seeing something happen from Triple O. They've done something now. They've got some kills. They got a wipe. They're going to get the steal, and they're going to be in a great setup for this defensively moving in.
I think that was just a little bit of miscommunication coming in from the GOATs. They got that easy pick on that light, really pushing full force head on, which is not what you want to do as a light. Once they got that pick, they probably could have just stayed there, but the miscommunication came in because they were planning on rotating anyway. They should have just stayed together on that roof or rotated all together. So they just had some miscommunication there. There should be an easy point for Orange to defend. Pink is going to have to either look for a quick pick here or look to force A as they're looking for this Orange team. One of the Oranges is over on that other building as it looks like one of the Orange gets picked off their heavy at 3 bar. And I think it's just up to one medium potentially to get some good defense here over on that one side. And the light's going to push over and probably guarantee this point. And they get wiped.
He bought him just enough time. So yeah, they played that well. Pink had to scramble to get that going. And that's what we mentioned about, like, that cash out being in such an open position. We were able to see Orange team get set up very defensively. They made it where just that push, they advanced from Pink, they lost somebody right away, and just a lot of damage going down off of it. So finally, I think we have a match here. I think that this one will go to 3 Vault, 3 cash outs, but here we go. There is the advance on Vault 2. A lot of damage going down from Pink team. Orange team is setting up an APS. There is a nice elbow kill from Moy. He gets a great res off of his teammate as well. Looks like he died in the process. Looks like Pink gets the res as well. Now they're just fighting, dueling reses, both people at half health. It does look like Pink was able to come on top of that one, but it really was a very close fight there in a very chaotic, closed-in area.
They have a long hike over these points, so it's going to be... You're going to see Orange team spawn in potentially, if they don't gateway this, which it looks like they are, they're going to be able to get some good positioning over them and have multiple fights on C. And C is a little bit of an unorthodox point, in my opinion. It's kind of tough to defend. You either play from this hotel area and play pretty removed from C, or you play in that building and play really close, which can be a little bit obvious. So it's going to be interesting to see how they set this up, if they have any winch text they have for setting this point up, as they're looking to get some good poke from Orange in the back, getting that offensive setup now that they grab the point. Going to look to rotate over potentially.
Yeah, finally, somebody just grabbed the vault, and they are just now making their way. A lot of fighting is happening on this rooftop. There is the gateway move from Orange. They all move together as a nice team. They are pushing Pink right now. They are shooting in the air. I'm not sure what they're shooting at up there at gateway, waiting for somebody to pop through it. But here is another rooftop fight. The cash out has been started. Pink is in a great position. They have a nice barricade set up in front of them. You see Orange team just trying to get any advantage that they can. They have a little bit of a height advantage right there. There's that AK shots going off, waiting to get anybody. But honestly, this rooftop fight needs to change. Somebody needs to push. Somebody needs to make an advance, because otherwise we are just going to see this at a standstill, and Pink is going to win just from the time alone.
Yeah, and like I was saying, if that light gets control of this crane, the other light can't see him while he's in this, because his back is to the skybox. They're going to be able to get some good shots. As Orange team pushes in, their light is already in there. They're going to have to play aggressively here now that they're playing this close range. It's going to be all up to their heavies to get some good damage on that SA-12. And they're just going to be playing to look for a clean winch and a poke. They're going to break out the fight on the first floor. Orange medium gets taken out as their heavy is 3 bar. And they get a clean pick as they're going to go look to reset here with their medium getting the fib on their teammate as they clean up Orange with a clean wipe there.
Yeah, honestly. Okay, so this is what I'm expecting. Look at this. Both teams actually not too far off on points, kills, eliminations, everything assist. So this is what we wanted to see. I think that 000 kind of learned from their mistakes in this last match. Now, of course, they're not winning this cash out at the moment, but they are going to have one last push. And
Oh, and it falls off. It's going to reset there.
Yep, it is going to reset, but that still is a good strategy because it does buy them more time. And if they're able to do that again, they know that that has bought them. I mean, that whole reset animation took about 5 seconds. So something to keep in mind as Orange makes their advance. Here they go. They have to dive on this. If they're able to get it, they will take this map. And I would love to see it. The steal is going off. They drop it. They're unable to make it work. It does look like one person from Orange has gone down. There is their pink heavy waiting with the taser, just waiting for somebody to start the steal. There's that shotgun going off on the staircase, taking a lot of damage out of the Orange team. He does go down, but it looks like Pink was able to get the cash out, bought themselves just enough time, and the fighting is still going on. The last member from Orange is on the rooftop. Nope, I take that back. There is one more person still up from Orange, and he is throwing Gateway. I don't know what he's going to go. Is he going to go for the res? Yeah, he's going for the res. This is what I would do as well. No sign of the other light player. I assume he's going for the res as well. So we might have a 2v2 situation right now. There are both of the totems right there. There was the res. Can he get it? He gets the wipe. What a great chase and kill from Roma. Well done.
Yeah, and this is going to allow them to set up more effectively on top of the vault. But again, it's on that low ground with this high-rise situation. You're going to probably see Carnifex, the Goats, just stay on this high ground and just wait for this Orange team to push up because they're going to spawn way before this vault opens. They get that hospital spawn and they're just going to set up top here. It's going to be interesting to see how this team pushes because now that they know that they're up there and being held, it could be a interesting situation. Although they do have default first, which means they could in theory wait all 10 minutes here, 11 minutes, and just stall out the game technically.
Oof, yeah, I don't think we'll see that, but what we're seeing right now is the disadvantage of high rise, and that's the fact that all of these cash outs are past them, risen up in the air, so Orange team would have to push directly upstream to get either of those cash outs, but it doesn't look like it because it looks like Pink team has decided to bring the fight to them. There's the bounce pad, they're all hopping down, both teams are really grouped up nicely together. There's the dome shield from Pink, a lot of mid-air combat, there's the winch claw, they both missed, there's the rocket going off, does a lot of damage but gets intercepted by that bubble shield. There is the shotgun doing a lot of work. Both rooftops going off, and Orange team finally goes down with the wipe. What an amazing push from Pink team. It got down to that last medium player with the FAMAS, and he was able to do it. He's even leaving his teammates to go get the put into the next vault and letting them coin in. Wow, what an amazing push. And honestly, it's showing why Pink team is here right now.
And they're going to get the plug into D. They're going to have good setup. This is one of the strongest buildings in the center area. Having good head glitches and good height advantage across on that Orange team pushing in here. Orange team is going to play aggressively, get that height, and work from top down into this fight. They're going to be able to get the jump on top of this Pink team, getting some good value onto that medium, stopping his regen. But he's going to push aggressively into that room and say, oh no, I'm not pushing into that dome APS setup they have there. We need these medium and heavy to regroup here as Pink team is looking to pad up, maybe get some high ground advantage. Gatewaying up to this roof can be a tough push for this Orange team. They're just going to settle for this first floor and play slow.
Yep, here we go. If I was Orange team, I would go for the drop. I would try and make something happen, make it where Pink team has to scramble to get it. But there is the steal. Can they get the body block? Can they set up? They stopped going for the steal. Looks like somebody from above started shooting at them. There's the dome from Pink. They're able to get a lot of damage going off right now. Pink is scrambling. One of them goes down, and it does look like Orange team is doing it. They get a trade. There is the res from Pink. There's the res from Orange as well, and this rooftop is just getting destroyed in the utter chaos that is going on in this fight. One person left on Orange team, and he is struggling. There is the winch claw going off from the heavy from Pink, but he is unable to get it, and now he is chasing, and Orange team goes off and kills himself to get the wipe. So Orange team is going to have one more push to get on this. They have the opportunity. Roma has been really going off. I think that their team has the potential to do this, but they have one last push, and it is just tense as hell. I do not know what's going to happen, but I'm really rooting for these Orange team to make something happen.
Yeah, and this is going to be a strong setup. There's going to be almost no opportunity for Orange team to push this now that they brought this thing out. They're going to have to dome and pray with some barricades here as Pink team's going to rain hell down on top of them. they're gonna have to jump in and pretty much just stink this, and it's gonna be a tough one. Getting caught out on thermal, this light is gonna get beamed as the heavy goes in for the steal and getting winched off a point and gets on it maybe with enough time, but gets taken out shortly after. Pink team is gonna win this no matter what.
Yep, and there we have it. That really was a great performance from Triple Zero. They really tried and they gave us a good show, but unfortunately, they were unable to beat the Goats because dang, what a performance. But I love it. Honestly, from all the
Mhm.
matches we've seen today, that was the closest. That was the most exciting. That was the comeback. That was what we wanted to see. And even the scoreboard reflects it. And it seems like really the light player was able to get things working. And we've said this before that like these matches live and die on what the light player can do. So that's why we saw such a performance from both teams today.
Yeah, I think they made some good changes moving into the second game. They did get a point, unlike that first Vegas match. It was very exciting to see them really flip the switch and turn it up a little bit and have that light pop off to get them a lot more opening. So that was really good performance for them. Even though they did take the loss, they did make some great adaptations going into that second round on high rise.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, it's just such a they're just such aggression from both teams, and I really think from the goats they just didn't wait around. They were like, we're bringing the fight to the orange team. We're going to make them scramble. There were several times that they were able to get the jump on them when it seemed like we were talking like this could run out the entire clock. And nope, they were like, we're going to make
Yeah.
this happen right now.
Well,
And I love that. I love the aggressiveness because it's what you need in a game like this.
yeah, exactly. When they caught them off guard on that balcony, they had some great first shots, really breaking out that fight on that vault fight. The one thing they did understand is that this team could wait a while before they push because of the default first, but I'm not sure if they really understood that. I don't know how many people employ that strategy. That's something that I think of personally when I'm playing, whether or not I have default first, the other team is, because you can't allow this team to just sit there.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm glad too. I mean, just from a viewer standpoint, nobody wants to sit around and watch. Like people just stand around waiting. This is not a waiting game. This is an FPS. This is all about as quick and as fast action as we can get. But we do have the brackets updated now, so we have our four final teams already in here, and that is NTO versus Saints One, and then Aimers versus the Goats. These final four teams will decide who moves on to the final and battling for, I believe, $150 and some in-game currency. Production, correct me if I'm wrong on that amount, but it is a nice little stack of cash for whoever ends up winning this.
Yeah, I think we're also giving out some in-game currency for these
Nice.
teams. So should be great to see if you
Yep.
didn't mention that.
I love to see it, but let's break down NTO versus Saints 1. If you were forced to pick a winner from this matchup, who would you choose and why?
I mean, historically, I think I would pick Saints one. You have Mickey, Emilian, and someone on that team. They're nothing to scoff at. Someone being a top tier light and Emilian and Mickey because consisting of a strong core for their team. Hopefully, and they also took a 2-1 victory over Rolls Royce, and that was a tough matchup. As I saw, I did call it would go to game 3. I
Hmm.
would have been curious to see. I'm gonna have to watch back from Lasagna's POV to see how those matches went because that would have been a nail biter, I bet, of a game. So
Yeah.
Saints one really taking that over Rolls Royce is fantastic, and they're going to be facing NTO against, as we said before, NTO, NA Ghost, Negos 6, Thorax, and Olav. It's going to be interesting to see because this is their breakout tournament. They had play NTO did play against B6, which is also a very well-known team with some good fundamentals. So they really came out clutch for today, and now they're going to have their toughest matchup yet against Saints One.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they did well in the performances that we watched NTO with.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you're right. Historically, just Saints One is a very every player on that team is very well established, and if they play well together, which we've already seen that they have and can, I think that this might be a no-brainer for Saints One, but I am going to be on the opposite side, and I am actually going to root for NTO because I got to root for the underdogs, even though I know Saints One a little bit better. So yeah, I will be rooting for NTO to see if they are able to kind of make an upset and make things happen. But on the flip side of it, we have Aimers and the Goats. Same question again. What is your prediction?
This one's a little bit tougher because I haven't really seen Carnifex play in a comp scene personally. I know he's very good. He knows the game extremely well. He has played comp in the past. So this one honestly is up in the air. This is also another matchup that will probably go to a game 3 or be extremely tight 2-0. Like these games could go either way. If I had to take it, I I'm gonna have to give it to the goats here only because they're playing HML. But a telco, the aimers do know how to play against them pretty well. HML comps. It's gonna come down to map picks, whether or not they can play inside and force the light to come inside. That's gonna be their biggest asset. But if they don't get control of these cash outs, it's gonna come down to the wire. Carnifex, it's gonna get some free beams on aimers rotation into these points. That one's gonna be up in the air.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Aimers, just because if we go historically, I know some of these players. I've seen how they are. Aimers is also the very first
Mhm.
signed team, so I think that they have been playing, performing, and really kind of getting ready for a matchup like this. So that's how I think it'll go. I would love for it to go absolutely unexpectedly differently. Boy, that sounded really weird, but you know what I mean. I am okay for this to go either way, because no matter whatever match we have up next, which seems to be Aimers versus the Goats, we will have really some of the top teams here. They have made it their way through this bracket. There is a reason that they're here. It is not a coincidence. They did not luck out. I think that no matter what, these teams are going to just absolutely be at each other's throats. So I am excited as we start to load in the new, and load into this next setup.
Mhm.
Production, do we know what map it'll be on? This next setup? Not
We do
yet.
not know what map it's going to be on. Look, I mean, this and the besides the grand finals, this match and Rolls Royce versus Saints one are probably going to be some of the closest matches that we will see today. It should be an interesting matchup. Like I said, the map is going to mean a lot, and it's going to be interesting to see if, depending on the map pick, aimers rotate over to that HML team composition. But I do know they are very comfortable on the heavy, medium comp. So they may just stick with that. It's gonna be interesting to see how they approach this light, because if they don't play HML, that light is going to have one free extra slot to play whatever they want, whether that's a stun, glitch, or even frag grenades. Right? Put the
Yeah.
frag grenades on the light potentially. So it could be interesting to see what equipment they choose if they are going to be playing against the heavy, medium as HML. So.
Mhm. Well, and I love that we have people that are willing to switch. They're not like I'm saying I am solely a heavy main. I am solely a whatever player. Just the fact that they're able to be dynamic, and I think that's really important in games like this, where your meta can change. And okay, if you are stuck in a role, you need to be able to know that, like, no, I am at a disadvantage here against this team. I'm at I need to be able to be dynamic in my choices. So I think that it's really cool that we are seeing that, because I think going back some of the early matchups like Breakout and anything like that, it seemed like people were set in a role, and there was very little variation of it or deviation from the script, basically. So I love that we're seeing kind of a change in the meta, the way that the competitive scene is, because it's what needs to happen. People need to not be stuck on just one weapon. But yeah, those are my thoughts anyway. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in the most balanced the game has been. Obviously, there's some outliers, but in terms of team comps, we can see heavy, medium still being viable. Probably the
Yep.
weakest of the most common compositions being heavy, medium, heavy,
Mhm.
medium, light, and heavy, medium. So, like, having these comps being so even right now and balanced, Obviously, you see heavy, medium, and heavy, medium, light being the strongest just because of the versatility, the equipment, and the ability to have those range fights because the medium and light kits have better range and poke damage for the pre-fight, as well as seeing that heal being nerfed through and through, as well as the RPG on the heavy. So I definitely like the meta. The outliers right now in the meta being the LH1 being extremely strong, as well as the FAMAS being extremely strong. That headshot multiplier on both those weapons are a little bit out of control. So it would be good to see some of those a little bit tuned, and that would make an extremely balanced meta right now. The only other outlier is those frag grenades, and that's why we only allow one frag grenade per team on a gadget. So
Yeah, no, and uh, I have been using the FAMAS primarily this season. I'm normally a CL40 player, but
yeah,
as soon as they added back the self damage to it, it's just unviable. So I know I'm waiting with bated breath for when I know that little bit of a nerf is going to come down to the FAMAS, because even myself, as not like a top tier player, can tell that it's a little bit
yeah.
buffed compared to everything else. Like I shouldn't be this good with it. Basically, yeah, so I agree with you that really those are kind of the only outliers. And I kind of disagree. I think that the LH1 is kind of in a good position because it does take still a lot of skill compared to other weapons, just with the recoil, and everything just kind of bouncing around when you shoot. But what do you think it needs to be nerfed? What would you
I mean,
change with it?
that's where we're gonna have to disagree a little bit. I think the LH1 is way too easy to use right now. There's
Hmm.
not a lot of recoil since the
The
team
change,
got rid of the visual recoil and
mm,
also added the red dot sight. Like the one
yeah,
thing that kind of kept it in check was that visual recoil and adding a little bit skill there, as well as now that they added the red dot sight, if you want to use a scope on it, you have that red dot with has no glint, allowing invis players to just sit there, aim down sight with no glint, no disadvantage for using a sight, having a clear sight picture. I just think it's a little bit too easy, as well as having such a high headshot multiplier, which wasn't an issue before when it was a tougher weapon to use, was
yeah,
okay. But now that they've reduced the visual recoil, added the red dot sight, that headshot multiplier is so easy and is so strong. It feels like if someone's stealing a point or you get some clean first shot headshots, you can get probably two in a row on a heavy, and they're just instantly deleted before they can even pull up a mesh or get any sort of cover. I would love to see the addition to maybe a little bit more bounce on it. So when you shoot, it doesn't necessarily fully recenter back to where it originally was. Because right now it feels like it recenters a little bit too easily, allowing for easy shots and easy recoil control. They
yeah,
just need
yeah.
to add some more skill there.
Yeah, I did forget that you could take off the scope and have no glint, so that is really kind of
Mhm.
strong. But here we go. We are hopping into the next map. I didn't catch what it was, but we will see here again. Oh, it is Vegas
Vegas.
on a stormy day.
Seems like a player favorite pick here today. We've seen a lot of
Yeah,
Vegas, so it's interesting to see how these teams take their approaches differently than others on it and play with a little bit more adaptability potentially and see how each team approaches these maps. And it looks like we're going to see heavy, medium with aimers and HML on the goats. So it's going to be interesting to see how they potentially box in against this light. But this light is going to be playing XP54, which is not going to be as potent at range, but still going to allow them to play these mid-range engagements and close range engagements pretty well.
yep. And so here we go, hopping into it. Orange team will be goat, and pink team will be aimers. So if you are rooting for a special team, look for those colors as we go into it. Vault 1 is being approached by orange. They started way closer to it. They get the tap on it, and they throw the gateway, and they are ready to move it probably to cash out A. It looks like B might be really close to pink, so they might be trying to avoid it, but I'm not entirely sure because there is the gateway outside and set up towards B. So pink is now really on top of that first vault. Orange is set up on top of the roof, and we are going to wait to see which team makes the first advance, as it does look like pink team is able to swipe up that first vault as orange team moves towards the megadome.
Yeah, and we're gonna see pink team probably box up, and while orange team is gonna look for some off angles here. They're probably just gonna plug it and play defensively, kiting away from it as quickly as possible as they plug it. So they're not gonna have any drop or stall here as it is on first floor, and they're gonna look to play aggressively here. Orange pushing in. You saw that guy just open the door right as they escape narrowly, and they're gonna just continually kite around this orange team. We'll see how they engage this.
Yep, and look at how closely they are staying close to each other. Orange team is right above them. They are just staying bundled up like a bunch of grapes, trying to get advantage point. There is the bounce pad. They throw it up on top of the roof. We see a lot of people going down. 2 people from Orange going down. They're down to their last member, and he gets winch clawed out, and that is going to be the wipe. They pull them out very cleanly. I don't even think a single person on pink team died in that fight, and yeah, only one person down so far, and that is on Mauser. So yeah, not a great push from Orange right away, but let's see if they can set up and make some changes and make something happen.
Yeah, I think Orange second guessed their push a little bit there as they were rotating in. If they did get a winch on one of these players, that kite would have been mitigated and they would have had a good advantage state. But since they second guessed themselves, they put themselves on that roof, allowing pink team to get a DMAT pad right above them, getting a big RPG there.
Yep, yeah, and that RPG can really open up a team when they are all bundled up like they are right now. Both of these teams seem to be playing really well together. I think they have a good communication, but there it is. They're going to go straight for the steal. They throw the goo. They're forcing neighbors to push into them. They get off the steal. They are able to get it. Good job. And now they are retreating away from it, trying to get set up, but they are going to be chased down. Nobody's really pushed in just yet. Pink is trying to assess where they can go. There's that RPG. Doesn't seem like it committed or hit Carpenex perfectly right on. Orange is now just buying down time. They're running low. Somebody needs to jump on this right now.
It looks like it's wiped.
Oh, that is a wipe.
Pink
I
team,
missed
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I mean, that was going to be an impossible point to take back. There was only 30 seconds left after the steal. Like, if they did not get a pick while they were taking or get a winch on somebody, it was kind of just GG's. They just rotated away and were able to buy enough time there, and they had to push recklessly.
Yeah, and just really that's what happens when it just comes down to just such a close cash out. And really, Orange was great when they got that first steal, because I thought that they were just trying to bait him out and then force the fight, but no, they committed to it, and they were able to hold on to it for this entire engagement.
And as I called out, like, having that point on first floor was actually extremely influential in this fight, because they were not able to tell necessarily when they were taking it. They couldn't really go back onto roof and DMAT through. They had to go through 2 layers, so it just gave them a little bit too much time to allow that aimers to steal that map.
Yep, absolutely. And so here we have Orange team set up on top. They have the height advantage, really just waiting for anybody on Pink team to move that cash out. But I think that Pink team is just going to bring the fight to them. They are. Here's the bounce pad up. Dome shield goes down. One person from Orange team is very low. One of them Pink team goes down. And oh no, Orange is really getting the advantage. They're chasing down this last Pink team member. He's down to just a little bit of health. And what's going on there? It looks like they're just talking to each other. They're having a nice conversation. And nobody is wanting to kill anybody. Finally, the fighting goes down. There's the C4 emotes. They are just having a good time. Must have had a very serious conversation as they just ran into each other. I've never seen that before. I've been casting a lot of games, a lot of hours, and yeah, serious conversation.
I mean, as you see, like, staggering is going to be extremely strong no matter what position you're in. It just allowed them to get that plug a little bit, in which games them a few more seconds. Every second matters in this game. Setting up their defense, putting C4s on point, getting their cooldowns back for this next fight here.
Yep, Orange team is in a great position. They have a nice setup. There is Pink team making the advance. I think they're going to try and either demat down. Nope, they're taking the fight right to it. They dematted in the staircase. Are they going to go for the steal right away? There is the APS turret set up. Nope, they make a retreat. Probably not the best move for them to attack it right now. There's the winch claw. I would definitely do this. Pull this out to a more closed off spot. Hopefully they go for the steal. We see the setup. They're in a great spot. Orange team demats the floor down below them. That RPG goes off. A lot of damage going off from both teams. There's the winch claw. Both heavies go down, and Pink unfortunately gets another wipe. And wow, the goats aren't looking good this matchup.
Yeah, I'm not sure what adaptation Pink team needs to do to really take some advantage here. I think Orange is ready for them to play their general strategy of forcing point, and they're doing a great job at discouraging them from really full stealing it. So it's going to be their pink team's going to have to take a fight on, but now they don't have much time. They're going to have to force steal it. They should have, on that previous fight, maybe taken a fight a little bit more aggressively, looking for a pick. But now they're in a quite a pickle here.
Yes, indeed. They are going for it. They dive right on it. There's about 15 seconds left on this cash out. They are getting a lot of damage off. They had to pull off the steal. There is Pink Team throwing the APS down. There's the bubble shield as well. And they are out of time. Honestly, there is no time even if they dived on it. So Orange Team has done a great stall strategy and the wipe following them up as well. It was a pretty, they really couldn't do anything. Like, they had to dive on it. They had to commit to that steal, but they immediately got shot at. And if they would have kept holding it, their medium would have gone down. And it just was in a bad spot for them overall. I'm really surprised. I would have expected of any matchups for this one to go to 3 cash outs, just from what I expect from aimers. But yeah, the goats are looking good. I said that earlier, and I stand behind it.
Yeah, I think this is really where we see EU differ from NA, and both teams are looking to force point pretty early. Carnifex and the Goats really getting a little bit better advantage on that, just because of the situation on that first point, having it be on first point. Like, we see aimers playing a little bit too removed from the cash out, not able to get close enough, whereas the Goats are close enough to rain down above them, drop their RPGs, and play pretty effectively above them. I would like to see some more aggressive fighting when we have more time on the point, because if you start fighting on that right after they put it in, you will get 2 fights no matter what. The second one, you're going to force it. So why try and force it on both the points? Well, you know.
Yeah. But we are loading into the next match on Skyway Stadium. We have another high-rise variation. I personally love this variation, but it can make for some interesting cash outs, especially because the vaults tend to spawn down below and the cash out stations tend to spawn in the elevated high-rise section. So we've seen this before today, where it is forcing teams to push directly upstream to get to those cash outs, and the enemy team just is sitting there waiting to intercept or cause as much damage as they can for that team that is pushing upstream. So I'm curious to see if we will see that again, or if we'll see some stall outs and people just waiting for something to happen. But here we go, loaded into the map. Orange team is starting to make their advance onto Vault 1. There is the gateway right away. Good gateway throw. But it does look like they're going to meet right at the same time with Pink Team as they start to push in. One of them takes the zip line up. It does look like he fell and missed that jump. Now they throw an APS turret, and they're trying to get everybody circled up into that APS 8. A lot of nades and a lot of things falling in. Their Pink Team is making the advance. They get winch clawed out of position, but wow, they ended up getting the kill on that heavy. The orange heavy gets res back up. There's a res from the medium. They're heavy as well on Pink Team. Now we're down to 1 person left on the orange team. Orange team is getting chased. He does get a kill, but unfortunately they get the wipe. Wow, that was a back and forth res up down. Yeah. I love fights.
Crazy fight.
Yeah.
Seeing that medium get winched and still take it out over that heavy was crazy, and then that just led to the back and forth. You know, you got the res train on both teams, evening it out, but Aimer's really just taking that advantage there, getting better damage and blocking out their cooldowns with that APS. So they're going to be able to set up on this B point and probably play this roof. Typically, I would imagine Aimers does like to box up, so they're just going to get this plug and maybe box up here as Orange Team pushes aggressively, catches them off guard, getting the dome down, getting some great value on that medium and looking for that second medium, and they're just going to hide. They're going to run and hide and get the advantage here. They may try and force point, and they get the wipe while forcing point.
Yeah, that was sloppy. I think that they really thought they had more time to get set up than they did, and Orange Team was just like, nope, we are here, and they brought the fight to them. And you could even see it, that there were a couple of people, I think it was Intelco was a little bit out of position in that fight, and then he tried to get back with his group. And yeah, you even saw the Orange Team was chasing them down, and then they got out of position and saw the call for their team to group back up. So yeah, just a lot of really out of position plays, but you love to see it because now Pink is making their advance. The cash out is more than halfway down. 1 person on Pink already down as well. Look at that. Noah is trying to get a bounce pad, but oh, that RPG connected. And look at that. We are down to 1 person on Pink, and he's being chased. Nope, he's being toyed with. They're going to have a serious confrontation again. And there is the jump pad, and he just jumps off. And wow. Yeah, these are very quick fights. For the people that are tuning in for the first time, these teams really have great aim. They're able to delete each other almost instantly. So it's really coming down to the mediums that can either heal, demat, support, just whatever to bring their teams in.
I think it's I think it's funny to see how confident they seem when they're gonna get staggered. Like, not only are they confident in the fight, but once they lose the fight, they're just standing still, allowing themselves to get staggered. And this dome is gonna offer a lot of value, getting some clean winch there and gonna block the spawns. That was an interesting strategy of Orange Team. I don't know if you saw that. They did push up to the center area, really forcing Pink Team to spawn back in that low ground so they could get some good spawn manipulation potentially. I don't know if that's a new strategy or anything like that, but that's looked like what they were doing, because I don't know if you saw that medium and that light did push towards that center.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that because I actually did miss that. So good catch. I'm really glad that you're able to point that out, because that might be a new strategy that even I haven't seen. But here we go. The second vault has spawned. It looks like the tap goes off from Pink Team. They are coming in below it. They do demat from the roof, and they are climbing all around. Orange Team is set up there with the dome shield, and Pink Team just seems to be waiting for anybody to make a move as they set up on the second floor. Just waiting for any information. There is the bounce pad. Are they going to demat the floor down, bounce up? I think that's exactly what's about to happen. But Orange Team is starting to move away. So now Pink Team is in control of the vault. But yeah, I'm not really sure what's happening. Both teams just seem to kind of be avoiding each other. Waiting for somebody to kind of make that first move. If anybody, I suspect that Aimers will be the one to do it. And there is the DMAT. Here we go. Fighting is finally getting started. We see that Orange is still in a great advantage. They have the high ground. Pink Team is struggling to get anything done. Atelco is down very low. No exit health as well. They're being chased down from the Orange Team. One goes down. There's the winch claw. Pulls him out of position and immediately gets the kill. And another wipe goes down for Aimers. What is going on? These people, these players are amazing, and what's happening? They're just not getting their footing.
I'm curious to know if these guys, all being in EU, have plenty of experience against each other, if they've been scrimming but leading up to this tournament, because that could explain some of the knowledge in terms of the way they're playing, and it just seemed convincingly going towards the GOATs. But I mean, Aimer's still doing a good job at pushing these points. They just need to get a little bit more fights, and this is their chance. They don't have a winch up. They need to get some big damage here in this dome. They get a big winch on that heavy, but they lose the 1v1 after their winch, and it looks like they're going to get to the res, and it's going to be a 3v1 potentially here. 2v1, and they clean up Aimers there again, winning out from not having their specializations or cooldowns. They should have probably won that convincingly. They knew exactly once he used that winch, that's going to be a big advantage. But Carnifex doing some clean off angles there.
Yeah, and honestly, these fights from like a casting perspective are insane. They all hop in, they are all so close to each other. The fighting happens down like one lane in a tiny room, and people go down left, right. They get the reses off. It's just, we've seen a lot of slow-paced combat. We've seen a lot of really kind of people taking it the strategic route, but no, these two teams are like, no, we are bringing the punch, and here we go. Can the GOATs hold this for half a cash out more? As we see Pink Team starting to make their advance, there's that red barrel on it. There's the DMAT going off. Everybody's pulling it in to the APS turret area. They need to make something happen. Aimers needs to get this steal started going. One person from Aimers is very low. Two people down immediately. This is not looking good. GOATs are chasing them down. Can anybody make something happen? Atelco goes for the elbow. I think he does get one kill. He's trying to make anything. He needs to get a kill. He needs to buy his team time, but he doesn't. He tried as hard as he could, but man, their whole plan just scrambled and just fell apart right after that winch claw, and I think that's it. I think the GOATs just won. I think so.
I think you see the power of light right there. Right when they were setting up, he dropped his dome, but he got glitched. The dome got glitched out. Everybody got glitched right when that dome came out. So they were at a massive disadvantage trying to force point. And that's the downfall of forcing point, especially when you have all three players on it and a light floating around. It's a rough one.
Yeah.
Well played by the GOATs.
It was. And I mean, honestly, Aimers had a great performance as well. I mean, expected a little bit more out of them, but they still gave us a show, and they still got kills. They still worked well together as a team. They made their advances. Yeah, there were some technical issues that they ended up, falling flat from the goats. But I love the aimers. I love to see them perform. And yeah, better luck next time, guys. And congratulations to the goats, Carfanex, Treason, and Mauser. Congratulations, you will be moving forward into the next round, into the final round, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
this is Saints 1 taking a 2-1 victory over NTO. See, that's exactly what I thought. Like, NTO actually having a good performance in this tournament, especially kind of being their breakout tournament that I've seen them. So it's very good to see that they not only made it this far in the bracket, but put up a good fight against a veteran team like Saints 1. But unfortunately, Saints 1 taking that victory, moving into the finalist position here against the GOATs. This is going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah. I don't know who to expect. Have we seen the Saints one play today? I don't think we have. They've made it under our radar. So we are going to finally see them play today against the Goats, who we've seen play at least 2 rounds, 2 matches. We saw them against 000 and Aimers. So yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I think both these teams have a good chance at taking the victory. It's just a matter of whether or not Saints 1 is playing as well as they could, because it looks like the Goats have some crazy teamwork today and are playing off each other extremely well. So if the Saints 1 can match their freak, they will definitely put up a great fight and have a good opportunity at taking this finalist position in terms of winning this grand final.
Match their freak. I absolutely love that way of putting it because, yeah, these are pretty much freakish teams. They've made it this far. Both teams have very well known players on them, and honestly, guys, if y'all have made it this far, this is the matchup to be excited for. I think that we are going to get everybody in the map. We might take a quick 2-minute break before we get started here into the final matches. So, production, would you mind if we take a short break before we get into these matchups? Cool, cool. I will be right back then. Okay, I'm back.
Alrighty.
All right. I'm not sure if we're live or not, but I am back. That's what happens when you drink way too much booze in the morning. Definitely gets me excited and going for the day. But yeah. 3 cans is quite a lot, and I'll leave it at that. But here we go, everybody. We are going to get back into Saints 1 versus the Goats. And we've had a lot of discussion today just about a lot of things about these players. And yeah, before let's back up just a little bit. This is turning into a best of 5. So previously we've seen the best of 3. Very rarely did we make it to the third match, but this means that the first team to make it to the third, or to win 3 matches out of the 5 will take the prize pool. So that is a $150 prize pool on top of some in-game currency for the second place people. So really just a lot here that's going on. And before we get started, I do want to take just a quick break to give a shout out to everybody behind the scenes that's worked on production of this Prohubs event. We have a lot of people working behind the scenes, mainly Burrita, who is also doing our cameras, and I believe is really kind of helped out organize and get everything going. So I don't have the list of everybody here, but I really just want to give a shout out to Prohubs because they are doing a wonderful job setting up these tournaments, setting up these Sunday events, and really there's a lot of people that you guys don't see behind the scenes that are doing a lot. So be sure to spam the chat, give them their love because they absolutely deserve it. So Sansoyo, what are your thoughts about today so far? Just any observation? What should we expect as we go into this next match? What are you excited for? You have the stand. Just take it away.
So-
Let us know.
Obviously, we've seen aimers be like kind of the standout team with heavy, medium comp. I think we do see the success that we have kind of talked about starting off this day, and heavy, medium, light being the meta composition. I'm interested to see that Carnifex is running the XP, which could be a strategic pick because in these heavy, medium, light compositions, you're gonna have to really force those light duels potentially up close, allowing the XP or the M11 or guns like that really take advantage over the LH1's lack of hipfire accuracy. So unless the light is crazy, which obviously Carnifex and someone are, that LH1 is probably going to be losing to the XP up close. So it's going to be kind of continuing that narrative going to this final round. I bet we're going to see Saints 1 playing the HML against the HML on Carnifex, the GOATS team.
Awesome. You gotta love it. And if you heard that correctly, it seems like we are loading into this map and we are going to get started. Best of 5. I have no idea who is going to end up taking it, Saints 1 or the Goats. We have not had a single stream of Saints 1 today. We've had several of the Goats. I think that there's a lot to be hyped for, a lot to be excited for. We're loading into Cis Horizon at sunset.
Yeah, and we see them on an interesting composition here. What is going on there? And what? They're trying to figure out whether they're going to go double heavy. What's going on? They're faking everybody out.
I've seen
I'm
this. They
kidding.
actually they tend to do this so that the enemy team doesn't know what their setup will be until the very last second.
I think everyone knows they're going to play heavy, medium, light, and Carnifex is going to be on light. I don't think I have any question about that, but regardless, I think we see someone on the XP or a close range weapon as well. So it's really we're gonna see a lot of aggressive light duels potentially here, and a lot of play with that thermal. It's gonna make for an interesting match because usually when that light, whoever gets that light pick off first, if that's how these matches are gonna go, usually wins the fight. Otherwise, we see lights come in after their core goes in, their heavy medium, after they engage. That's typically how these HML fights work. It's either the lights starting the engagements against the other lights, or it's going to be the heavy medium starting the engagements.
Yep, and just point out real quick, orange is the Goats and Saints 1 is on pink. So if you're rooting for a special team, there are your colors to watch for as we get set up for this first vault. We do see that orange team is set up on top of this area, which is a really OP area in Cis Horizon because it gives you a lot of vantage points. But they're now having to chase down pink team as Saints 1 has moved this first cash out. We might see this first engagement happening. Orange team is trying to do anything that they can to intercept them. They are very close, but they are staying close together as a team. Both teams are just chasing each other, and here we go. I think we're about to see the very first engagement. Maybe not. We are just watching them move around, but there we go. There it is. The dome shield goes down, and we're seeing a lot of work from that light. He brings down their dome shield almost instantly. Look at that. He's chipping away at their other light player, and we are watching them start the advance.
2v1 ending that fight. That was a quick fight. That winch really taking out Pink's heavy pretty quickly, and they're going to be able, now that they won that fight, Orange is going to be able to take this and set up with plenty of time to set up how they want it. They typically have been winching these points out, so let's see if they continue to keep that narrative and winch out B in the open, or they're going to play this draw.
Honestly, B winching it out is a great idea because it's such an open area in this kind of, there it is. There, they winch it out right into that open area. I'm not sure what to call that. But it is a great spot, and it's going to make it very hard for Pink Team to push into it because they are exposed on every single corner. There is the DMAT. They're going underneath the stairs. They're staying in this building. I'm curious their approach to it because they need to make something happen. They haven't found Orange Team yet. I believe Orange Team is right above them. They winch the cash out, bring it closer to them, but is not far enough. They are not out of cover. They are still getting beamed down. There is the gateway. They're starting the chase, and Pink Team needs to find something on Orange Team right now, or they need to get this fight started. Here we go. There's the dome shield going up. Orange Team is staying behind that barricade. They're being chased down. There's the DMAT, and they are trying to catch anybody off guard. Nobody has gone down yet that I'm aware of, and honestly, this is a very slow fight for them compared to what we've been seeing before, but the time is just ticking down, going slower and slower, and Pink Team needs to chase them, and there we go. Oh, the goo blocks that great shot, buys them just a little bit of time. There's the gas grenade. There's the APS turret. Time is just clicking down on this cash out, and it does look like Pink Team is starting to make their advance towards the steal. They need to make something happen at this very moment. Orange Team is in a great position. They have a great vantage point from everywhere over. They're just raining down hellfire. Bullets going everywhere. There's the steal going off from MXKX, and he is not able to get it. He goes down in it, and it looks like we have just one person up on Pink Team, and they are being chased. Nope, there's two people up. They are getting chased down. One of them goes down, and they are down to the last person on Pink Team, and he is going down as well, and there is the wipe. Orange Team has secured this first cash out, and wow, these are really good teams. I can just tell from how they've approached this, how they've played that, and yeah, great performance from both.
That was really well played by the Goats. As you can see, these teams are respecting each other enough to like really force the kite meta. That was a perfect play of that kite. You saw them block off line of sight with that goo and rotate out. They bought enough time. They wasted the entire time of the cash out just by running away. And that's how powerful kiting is.
Yep, no kidding. It really did buy them the absolute time that they needed. And Orange Team is now set up on this rooftop. There goes the Winch Claw trying to get someone in, but they get wiped. It does look like Saints 1 is a little angry with their last performance, and they want to show that, no, we actually can come in and deal a lot of damage. So they will take control of Vault 2 and take that, I think, probably to A in this situation.
So I think going back a little bit, both teams played extremely well. It really came down to who got the first pick. If Pink Team can find a pick here when they're attacking aggressively, they will win the fight. And that seems like how these fights are going, is the first pick really determines who's going to win this. But Orange Team's going to have a good opportunity to push up aggressively here. Carnifex's going to push with that gateway, allowing his team to get in and rotate around, getting a potential pick here on the light differential. Carnifex getting a pick and now rotating in to help his team and back them up as Pink Team owns this cash out. Gonna get some good damage on that heavy, but the heavy goes down on Pink Team, and it looks like it's gonna be a 3v1 here, and Mickey gets taken out last second, and now they're gonna get this steal.
Yeah, can we see the scoreboard? Because I think that, wow, okay, this is actually a lot closer than I thought. It seems like Emilian maybe is the one that needs to step up just a little bit, but I feel bad even saying that because this is actually really balanced so far. It seems like the Goats might have a little bit of an advantage going into this, but yeah, this is a really close matchup. So It can go either way, but the goats are in a great position. They have that cash out in the open. It looks like Saints 1 spawned pretty far away, sadly, to their disadvantage. So this is probably going to be the last push, and we see them start to make their advance onto cash out A. They have split up a little bit. Someone is now above them, and he is in Viz, looking for any information that he can, trying to get any damage off on them. They are in a good spot, roughly. They do seem to dive onto it. They throw down that APS, so the steal is imminent. They throw the gateway as well. Probably could block anything that comes in. And there is the steal. It's starting to happen. Where is Orange Team? There they are, and they are starting the advance. They fall off. That red barrel goes down. Everybody's jumping in that gateway. Lots of fighting going off right now, and I can't even tell who is shooting who because everybody's on top of each other. It looks like one person from Pink is down. Orange is very low, and they're struggling to stay around, and there is someone just getting some damage off, trying to connect those shots. There is 1v1. It is a light versus a heavy.
The heavy is 1 HP. He's going to have one opportunity to stick this and get this kill as that heavy gets the pick, and now he has enough time to steal. Very well played from someone getting that bait. A little bit scared. Why'd he hop off there? And I don't think that's going to cost it, but...
It almost did. He got spooked, and there was nobody around. So yeah, this is what you want to see. We are going down to the last cash out. Both teams are very well balanced. I have no idea which way this is going to go because both teams are heavy hitters as we approach onto all 3.
Someone taking a 3v1 here as his heavy comes in and pushes aggressively, getting a pick. Fantastic pick, and now they're going to have an advantage on a 2v2 with the high ground, making it a 2v1, but both people are super low. He's going to jump in and play aggressively, maybe help out his heavy, and he's going to get Winchy taken out as Mauser is going to be fighting a million at 1 HP. Doesn't know where he is, though.
Yep, he's got to track him down right now. This is his opportunity to get the team wipe, but I think it's already too late, and I think that health is starting to regen. And yep, it is. We saw him hopping around down 1 level below, and his health was slowly getting built back up.
There burned by the APS and gets taken out from that winch. But his team coined in, so it's not going to be a full team wipe. They're going to get killed by the teams respawning, and this fight's going to continually just get drawn out from these revives.
Yeah, this is a kind of messy fight. I don't want to say the word sloppy, but it is definitely drawn out way longer than it should. One team definitely should have wiped by now. There is Orange Team getting the tap on the vault. It looks like they're now set up as a team and getting ready for this push from Pink Team. They are going to the high ground, getting anywhere that they can. The gateway is in hand by Carfinex, and it seems like they are ready to drop that thermal vision. He is just waiting to see if he can get any information at all. There is the vault. It is now moved down, and it is ready to be pushed. I don't see Pink Team at all. They're waiting for Orange to really make this advance. Yep, there they are, all set up and just waiting. There's Emilian holding that dome shield, just ready to pop it off as soon as the combat gets going.
And they're just going to wait and see which direction they go, but they do gateway pretty far and pretty quickly over to D, getting a good plug advantage, and they're going to have plenty of time to set it up if they get this in quickly.
Yeah, I think that they definitely went to the unexpected route. I think that they were ready for the setup at C, but nope, they did. They took it all the way over there, and here is the advance from Pink Team as they start to move away. A lot of rooftop fighting going on. There's the APS turret set up along with the gateway. There's the RPG in hand. He throws down the dome shield. Everybody's set up behind this barricade. A lot of fighting going off from the shotgun. A lot of midair as well. Can he get the kill? He chased him down, but he was able to get a res off, and it makes for an easy kill off of him. Their chasing is going down, and Orange Team is going to be chased by Emilian. He did get away. Oh no, look at this.
I'm not sure what that RPG was. He wasn't even alive. I don't know why he would have wanted to drop him in that situation. I think he should have just taken his shots when he had him. And they're just going to keep kiting around, buying time, waiting for his one teammate to coin in as we regroup with the heavy here. They're going to force the point, play the 2v3 here, and at Orange's medium is rotating in as Pink Team gets the steal.
Yep, and honestly, Pink Team's in a really good spot now. They just have to buy for about 25 seconds. They have this. This is it. This is going to be the last fight, I think. There is the winch call. He pulls their heavy out of position, but they're able to do a lot of damage. See how elbows going off. Orange Team gets wiped in the worst time possible. They now have 25 seconds, and they're going to be able to dive onto this point just once, potentially, if they get a good spawn. There is a chance that they spawn way too far away, and we won't even see a fight, and then that's it. So, geez, this is a close fight. We see a lot of plays. yeah, I'm really blown away by what we're seeing.
This should be GG's for Orange. Orange is gonna have to maybe have one opportunity to dive on it, but it's gonna be almost impossible for them to take this if Pink Team plays this properly. They're gonna have that gas, that pad, buying so much time here. This is gonna be their one opportunity. They do have enough time to get on it, but he winches away from his teammate, and it's gonna be tight. But he did get on it in time, but they get the perfect stop pretty easily and convincingly, as we were just talking about.
Wow, yeah, that was impressive. I'm so happy that we get at least 3 matches of this because, yeah, Saints one really pulled that off there. I thought that the Goats had really supremacy for a majority of that match, but that supremacy is a very fine line. And my God, look at the scores. These are so close. Even the combat scores are so close. This is what you love to see. These are the matchups that I live for. And I am just so pumped that we have all of these heavy hitters swinging as hard as they can because, yeah, this is fun. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a little speechless, honestly, because I'm
I, I
excited.
I agree with you. At the start, it looked like Carnifex and the Goats had way better control over the match, but as the match drew on, someone and Saints One just kind of grasped their way back and really took advantage over them in those last two cash outs, getting some good fights and good damage. They really came together and adapted pretty well there. It's going to be interesting to see how they play on this next match here because it's gonna be
Ooh,
up,
up that
down,
left,
left,
right.
right, and I'm gonna be curious to see if we do see a little bit of a swap to an LH1 here by one of these lights, because this is one of the maps where it could come in handy, whether or
Yeah.
not they're gonna be playing more time or playing more range here. So, but it looks like Carnifex is gonna stick with the tried and true XP54, pushing that
Okay.
advantage up close.
And real quick for people that don't know, up, down, left, right is a really interesting variation on this map because we have a combination of suspended structures, which are these boxes in air where the cash out can go, and on top of it we have a moving platform that the cash out can spawn on as well. So you have a lot of verticality that you don't normally see in these matches. You see a lot more movement. Things are just not stationary, and there's a lot more different strategies that we get into it. So really kind of exciting. We don't see this variation a ton, so this will be a lot of fun as both of these teams work around the challenges that are brought by this mode. So here we go. The rooftop fighting is starting from Pink Team. They do get a lot of nice damage going off. A red barrel went off and hit right on the orange team, but these rooftop fights are normally inconsequential until somebody pushes, and this is exactly what we're seeing. We're just seeing a lot of damage, but there is the push. Immediately the winch claw goes off from orange team. MXKX is trying to stay up, and he goes down as well, and immediately a team wipe. And I've brought this up before, but these fights are so quick. As soon as they make the push, it is one team just going down within a few seconds. These are rarely drawn out, and honestly, it just shows how heavy of a hitters we have in these matchups today.
Yeah, and the one thing that the heavy, medium, light composition brings in is they are allowed to fight before they get the tap because they have this gateway, so they can make quick rotations and quick work of moving these cash outs. So it really depends on where the Saints One spawned here, if they're pretty close to A, but it looks like they didn't spawn on it because I think a fight would have broken out by now.
Yeah, I don't think that they're close, and honestly, that's going to give Orange Team just the time to get set up, and this is a really hard cash out to drop as well. They either need to go below it or bring the fight directly onto the platform, and it does look like Pink Team has already started to get a lot of damage off. There's Mickey trying to get any damage he can, but someone is now retreating away. I think, did somebody on their team die? They did,
Yep.
so maybe they're waiting for everybody to get back up before they make another push. Emilian.
And we have their heavy getting taken down. They made a pad RPG play, but I assume he got winched up top on his landing, and that just made them wait. They're going to play for this coin, and they're going to have potentially 2 fights if they do play quickly here, or they're going to have plenty of time to set up an offensive and potentially take multiple angles here. They're going to have plenty of time, so.
They are going to have plenty of time, but it is a time-based game, so they are getting down to where they might only have one push for this cash out. But here it is. They are a little bit split up still, but there's the heavy and the medium getting set up. There's the DMAT. They bounce up perfectly onto that zip line. They are now on the suspended platform. waiting for their team to regroup potentially. There's an APS turret, and I think that they're just waiting to drop it down so that they can go for the steal. I don't think that they're going to go for a fight. They're going directly for the steal. There's Mickey trying to get on it. He is holding it. Nope, he goes in for the steal, but pulls off of it as Orange Team bounce pads in. They're able to get a nice cleanup. I think there's only one person left on Pink Team. Oh, but they're doing a lot of damage. Carfinex really does get the cleanup and gets the wipe on Pink Team, and Orange is looking good. This is kind of what we saw previously in the last match. Goats seem to have the advantage until, I don't know, until Saints 1 is able to pick it up and kind of fix their flaws, I would say.
Yeah, and I think these fights are going back to the narrative of who wins the vault fights. The vault fights are so important because defending a cash out gives you such a big advantage, especially on these up, down, left, right platforms, these suspended structures, allowing a team to get such a advantage over this other team. I'm not sure you have much options, especially if on both of these next points, both are really tough to push. B, being able to be winched off of that moving platform, and C, being in construction.
Yep, absolutely. And here is Pink Team as they set up on top of Hotel. They have a nice vantage point, and the fighting immediately starts off. There's a great winch claw from Emilian. He does get there heavy down, out of position there in a great setup, but he is very low. He's trying to get as much shots off on that SA as he can. Last Orange Team member is very low, doing some great movement to stay away from someone as he is chased down and someone has lost him. It seems like they are able to get the res off on Pink Team. And yeah, we were down to a 1v1 there for a moment, and now it seems like both teams are going to get the res off. And there is the tap from Orange Team as they get set up for the next push from Pink.
Yeah, it's going to be a full reset by both teams. It's going to be another big fight here in terms of this vault, and who's going to take control is going to be up to who gets the better positioning. I think we're still waiting for this heavy to regroup with Pink Team here. Oh, and they're back up, so it's going to be a full regroup. They're going to look for a big pad RPG, but nobody's on the high ground to be RPG'd, and we're just going to wait it out.
Yep, this is what happens. There is some slowdown, but everybody wants to make sure that they make the right move. But yeah, nope, there it is. The fighting is getting started. They are taking that gateway, trying to get some height advantage, but Orange Team seems to be doing some great damage on Pink Team. There is MXKX set up away from his team, but he did get some great chip damage away from his team. And there is the oh! They call him out on the res, and there's the wipe. Pink Team in a great spot as they move to this next cash out.
Yeah, the Goats were playing really well though. They were staying pretty tight. I'm surprised to see that Pink Team really came on top there. I think they got a massive swing in the fight through that grenade damage. As you saw, everyone got down to like 3 or 4 bars left from that grenade. Big nade from Mickey there, really swinging the fight in their favor.
Yeah, nades are just so hard to see from a casting perspective. They're so tiny, but you just see damage go away, and it's like, oh, it's either an RPG or a nade. But here we go. It looks like Pink is in a great spot. They have set up that cash out on the moving platform. This moving platform does go around this building. It doesn't go too far away, so it's a nice setup to be in. It looks like they are running on the rooftops, going in between the suspended structures. Looks like Orange Team has decided to move off to the left. They're going in from a sideways advance. I'm not really sure what they're doing here. They're really far away from the point. It's not where you want to be. Here we go. They're finally making the advance together as a team. Carfinex with that thermal vision, just waiting to bring his team together. There is the gateway. They make the advance. They are on the suspended structure. The cash out is down below, so they are not in a good spot. The cash out is just slowly ticking down. They need to make something happen right now. Both teams very far apart. A lot of chip damage. The time is just ticking down, and I'm really kind of frustrated to see what's going to happen because no team's making a great move right now, and time is just ticking down.
This is exactly what Saints 1 wants. Just a stalemate, buying as much time as they can. It's going to be interesting to see with this big gateway play, getting his winch canceled by the other heavy, who's going to take out this fight. The heavy gets taken down in that bubble, and they're going to get RPG'd on that medium, and it's just going to be the light left back up, and he gets taken out. And it's going to be a convincing fight. They're not going to have any time to retake this. The one thing I would like to point out is this mansion point is extremely difficult to push from that middle section and that section on the right towards the camera right. I think they made a good play going up onto that high ground and rotating in because they played that wall pretty well. But again, this mansion point's almost impossible to push. Once a team gets some high ground and hold on it, it can be really tough.
No, I agree. I've been in that same situation several times. So, unexpected or very expected, I should say. But here is Vault 3. We do see the goats set up on this rooftop. They're actually doing a lot of damage from Pink Team, even at this distance. So this is where you want to be. It makes sure that they have control over this next vault. But what's this? They decide to bring the fight to them. They want to bring this to. Yep, they are. They are both going for the same vault, and we will see them converge on there. Orange has kind of gargoyle position, and they are able to get a lot of damage. But here we go. Pink has bounced in, and one of them goes down immediately. Another one goes down, and Pink is unable to make something happen there. Orange had the height advantage and really kind of the whole advantage in that fight. So great plays from Goat. They are now going to be in control of the vault. And yeah, where would you take it for this next vault?
I think we're probably going to see them go to D, but I do think C is probably a little bit of a stronger point because it is in that room. You can play drop pretty effectively. There's also some potential to winch it over out into the street through the top with a D map pad, but I think they are going to rotate to D just because it's a little bit closer here.
Yeah, and on top of that, C has the 2 cranes, which can provide easy ways for teammates or enemies to get into the point. So I would take it to D as well. But here we go. Both teams decided to jump into the fight right now over Vault 3. They are jumping in. A lot of damage going off from Pink Team, doing a lot of damage on Orange. They just got to get the cleanup. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. They got it. What a wipe from Mickey. Good shots from that FAMAS.
Yeah, we're getting some good shots. That heavy got taken out pretty quickly from that winch, but they were able to clean up with their aim. I mean, Saints won really fantastic aim there from the FAMAS and their light. So well played. And they're gonna get control of this. It's gonna be interesting to see where they drop this off because I imagine they have to. They have to winch this off somewhere. It's gonna be just where.
There it is.
And
Yeah, they very rarely keep it in that's moving platform.
And they're going to have some good high ground over this orange team. Orange team pushing aggressively right onto Mickey, getting winched in. He's going to probably get taken out here, but they get the trade. It's just, where is that light going to back him up? And it's just the light versus 2 on orange team. But he's getting some good damage. It's a 1v1, I believe. A light matchup right here, light versus light. This is going to come down to, like we said, this thermal fight, whether or not he can find him.
Yep,
he might just buy time.
Frantically, yeah, and I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. Both teams are going to go for the res or the coin, and both lights are going to have to be kind of the center of their team as they set up. Yep, there's a coin in from one of them. APS down from orange team. Pink seems to be in a really good spot. I don't know, though. It's so tense. I can't tell what's going on. There's Pink team. They are all nice and grouped up. But where's orange team? I can't tell at the moment. There they are on the rooftop to the right of them. They're hopping down. Time is running out. This cash out is more than halfway done. There's the winch claw. Pulls him in. Orange heavy goes down. Looks like Pink is doing some great damage on orange team. I'm not sure who's up at the moment, but it seems like we've had at least 2 wipes. There it is, and there is orange team going down. And is that it? Is that gonna be it?
Is probably it. They're not going to have any time to really retake this. They're going to go ahead and block this spawn. They can't even spawn on this mansion side. They're going to winch it over and just make sure it's really nice and close to them. There's either way, there's no opportunity for them to retake this. This is just a GG's and well played from Saints 1. And we're going to be going into the 3rd match with a 2-0 lead on Saints 1.
Wow. Not what I expected at all. And honestly, the goats seem so strong coming into the very beginning. Like they're able to get the cash out. They seem to have control over the map. But then I think that really what Saints 1 excels at is just like playing with the strategy that they're given. So they're able to adapt and kind of just overwhelm what goats are doing. Goats feel confident, and then they are just able to rob them of that confidence. And I think that's so powerful in a matchup like this.
The one thing that I'm really noticing is in terms of who's winning these fights, it looks like the goats are winning fights convincingly when they are set up and have their setups, right? They're almost undefeatable, but whenever they're rotating those vaults and Saints 1 is extremely potent at catching these teams off guard on their rotations, that's where they are winning these fights and then taking control. It seems that's like kind of the narrative we're playing with is they're getting caught out on the rotations, really winning those vaults and the vault fights on the rotation. And then they're able to hold and scrap out a little bit better than the goats. But they just need to not let the goat set up to continue to keep winning these fights.
Yeah, and honestly, it's in a really good spot for Saints One. They seem to have mastered just buying time, just making sure that there is only one, maybe two pushes from the enemy team as they go for the cash out, and I think that just eating up time is so important. But we are going to be loading into the next and potentially last map of this
Yeah.
tournament today, and it will be on Las Vegas. Absolutely today's favorite map by basically everybody. Um, and yeah, you've mentioned it before, but why? Why do you think that everybody's going for Vegas?
Honestly, I think it's just kind of a fan favorite. It's not
Mhm.
my top pick of map, but it's definitely always going to be in the map pool. I feel like a lot of people respect the map and feel like it's generally pretty neutral. There's good ways to move around with these bounce pads, good ways to push high ground, and also plenty of opportunity to push low ground. The only downfall of this map is you have this like no man's land in this cross section in Death Valley. There are some good points in this map, and it's still pretty neutral, just like Sis Horizon. So I think that's why we're seeing it a lot, because it's not a hated map like potentially Seoul or Kyoto and other maps like that. So it's definitely much more liked and balanced in the community. This is the goats coming off with the back to their wall, and it's going to be their potentially final game. They're going to have to come up big here, and they're great at starting off these fights in these neutral positions. They're going to have good setups, but we do have a disconnect here, and it looks like it might be a rehost. Maybe it's on a different map. I'm not sure what the situation might be. Somebody could have crashed, so we're going to go ahead and rehost this match.
Yep. And I mean, it just happens. It is just the way of the game. Sometimes lobbies get a little bugged, and yeah, people do drop. But we will get back into the map here shortly. So let's just talk about their composition. Both teams seem to be running, heavy, light, medium, and it seems like they tend to be going more for DMAT than healing beam.
Hmm.
Um, it, and I think that this is a whole nother conversation, but like we never see the turret used for any medium. I've had this conversation with a couple of people, but like, what is why? Why do we not see the turret? What's
So
so bad about it?
the turret is right now is just so bad because there's not a lot of use you can have it in rotation, right? It's mainly a defensively minded specialization, which isn't necessarily too bad, but it's just not as versatile as DMAT or heal beams. Whereas those two specializations you can use almost anywhere on the map. Like when we're pushing a point, what are you going to do with turret? You can't drop it down and it activates. Like that's my biggest gripe with turret right now is the fact that I cannot put it down mid fight and it pose a threat. Like it's just going to be sitting there deactivated, waiting for its activation time up, and you can just avoid it so easily. I really wish they would reduce the HP potentially of it, but also increase the activation timer so it would activate quicker, right? So I can just throw it down, it activates in maybe 1 or 2 seconds, and then it helps me out mid fight. It's just
Yeah,
not as versatile.
no, I'm right there with you, and I think that you really did hit the nail on the head with versatility. Just this game is so situational based. Like you can come in with a strategy, with a plan, anything like that, but then everything changes, and how quickly you can kind of adapt and move with it really is important. And having that DMAT or a healing beam versus like a stationary turret, it does make sense. So maybe one day we'll see kind of the changes. I think he really has some good suggestions because normally when I don't run turret at all because it's annoying. But like normally when somebody deploys it, I have enough time to like get that turret down to like a quarter health, if not
Or
lower.
just run
Sometimes.
away. Or
Yeah,
kill the
or
guy.
run away. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, maybe a quicker activation time would be interesting change. But I believe that you really hit it right when you said it's just the versatility, and I don't think as much as they change it, I don't think that we'll ever see it in top
Yeah.
tier finals gameplay. But with that said, we have everybody loaded into the map. We will be seeing Vegas. There might be the sandstorm variation because we cannot control that just yet. So things might look a little different, but we will know here in just a second. And you know what? I got to say, guys, if you are a fan of the GOATS team, show them some love, get the hype going, get people, spam the chat, go crazy. Come on, guys. You got to build some love for your team to see them go to this next round. I want to see more matches of the finals today. I don't want this to be the end. So if you are a fan, friend, anybody of anybody playing, come on, guys. Let's see what they have. And yeah, we will be getting into it. It does look like the colors have changed. So it looks like Saints 1 will be on orange and the GOATs will be on pink. Just a quick note for anybody that is watching and especially rooting for your team. They have changed from this last match. But here we go. Las Vegas, the fan favorite. We will see at least this matchup today. Can the GOATs bring themselves back from the point of failure and give us a show? I am quite excited because here we go.
And this is a pretty neutral spawn right up on top of this metal. Both teams going to have a good opportunity at vying for this high ground. And it's going to be interesting to see Carnifex taking a little bit of an aggressive off angle here as his heavy pushes in behind him, getting that dome down, blocking that RPG, massive winch. Let's see if this heavy can win it out over this other heavy. Both heavies trade, and it's all up to the medium and lights as Mauser gets rezzed by his medium. It's 3v1 right now. Mickey just lingering, looking to get wiped. And pink team's going to get a clean tap here and are going to be able to set up the point that they want.
Yeah, that was an interesting fight. I love that it happened all on the rooftop and kind of on this mega dome structure. And now we see Pink Team really kind of has the advantage. I believe that they would go B in this situation because it's a really kind of nice area. You can drop it a couple of times and then winch it out into the open if you need it. Yeah, and it does look like they are making the advance onto B. Exactly what I would do.
Definitely think B is a better point than A. A's rotations are a little bit awkward in terms of that white room on that corner, but B has some good setups, and they probably do see Orange Team Mickey pushing in aggressively as they get a little bit cut off guard there. That medium taking some shots, throwing down the nade, getting the winch down, and getting taken out by the heavy, getting some good shots in here in that dome, and it looks like it's going to be a 1v1 again scenario here with Pink Team having control of the point.
Ooh, it looks like someone is just going to go for the res, and I think that's really the play here. Both teams probably doing the exact same, but we see someone is in a great position for as soon as he gets this res up. Yep, it is down to just the lights, and there is the res. Yep, both teams have a person up. Wow, some great damage going off from someone. Can he get this last kill? Can they get it connected? And there it is. They got down to just 1 HP, and they got the wipe, and they're going to get the steal. And wow, what a turn up. Really, both teams are going down to just their last little bit of health. These teams are fighting for it, and you can tell it. I love this.
Yeah, that was a crazy turnaround. I think Treason just got caught off guard a little bit too much, and they got some good early damage on that medium, making it a little bit easier to push off as one of their players got a little bit of a flank on that heavy.
Yep. And here we go. We see the push going in. We see that some Saints 1 has a great spot. They have winched that cash out into the open near that dumpster. And honestly, it's a very good position to be in. They are in a great spot waiting for this advance. Time is ticking down. Pink Team needs to make something happen right now. They need to go for the steal. They need to get a kill. They need to make something happen. There it is. There's the bounce pad. There are a lot of damage going down in mid-air. One of the Orange Team goes down. The steal is happening right now. Did they buy themselves enough time? No, they didn't. They're able to pull off of it, and I think that that will be enough for the cash out. Nope, they go for it one more time. There is Treason going for it. Oh my god, he has just stopped so many times, but there is the heavy going down for the steal, and they will get it. They got the wipe on orange and the steal at the very last second. So wow, what a trade-off, what a back and forth. Mickey not really doing a lot of damage just yet, but we have seen him come alive time and time again, and I would not discount Orange Team from this fight just yet, from this map.
Yeah, putting the pressure on them in that dome, forcing the steal, really bought them a lot there. Forcing Saints 1 out of position pretty aggressively. They had enough time to really do what they needed to do to baiting that point. And now they're going to go ahead and get this vault fight, gateway out, and just play with the cash outs to their back, rotate out. They said, no, I don't like that position. And they're just going to get the high ground over Saints 1 here.
Yeah, you can definitely see it. And there's the gateway. They're just waiting for it to go through. Yep, and the vault will follow them very shortly. And I think they're going to get set up on A. A is probably one of my favorite cash outs of this entire map. I think it's a great little spot. It's a nice what is it, concert venue area. But regardless of that, there is a lot of fighting going down. Pink is down to just one member, and he's being surrounded by the orange team. They jumped on him like a bunch of hyenas jumping onto prey, and they were able to get the wipe on them. This is not what I expected. I'm really kind of hoping that we see more from the goats because it seems like they are just kind of going down pretty quick.
Yeah, and I think typically we're gonna see this team maybe playing this outside area, looking for a pad onto rooftop, but they may even rotate over to this white room and play a little bit more kite focused away from this team, forcing them into a bad position. It's going to be interesting to see here because they probably hear their footsteps and hear them running right under them as they look to break it, but he messes up. He's going to just go for the DMAT anyway. Orange team rotating up for the high ground. Carnifex may hear them on that zip, playing around with that, rotating back up. This is crazy. They don't even know that Carnifex is right behind them.
Yep, and there is that nade. There is the APS. They are going straight for the steal. They have bought themselves just enough time. I think they can actually do it. Oh, there's the winch claw. Pulls their heavy out of position. He does not go down just yet. There's the other heavy. He pulls out the RPG, but goes down in it. There is MXKX trying to get anything happening, but he goes down, gets wiped, and now Pink is going to be able to steal this. And I think the Goats might be in a really good position to take this map. Finally.
That was a very convincing shot. I think we just really saw the aim differential come in on this fight because they had that winch. They got the trade easily on that heavy, but I just think they had better aim there than the other team. So well played by Carnifex and the Ghosts, but they're only going to have one opportunity to defend this as well as see if Orange team can come in for the steal.
Yeah, and you see them set up right on top of it. They are not going to be away from this cash out. They're ready to dive on it as soon as the steal goes off. And there it is. They are going to be swarmed. There was the taser that went off. You could see everybody trying to stay alive. Get as much damage done as you can. And Orange goes down. Oh boy, what is happening? This is not what we saw from Saints 1 previously. They seem to be kind of struggling to find their footing just on Vegas, but hey, they already have 2 rounds to them, so we will see at least one more match.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of overconfidence potentially coming in. They only, Mickey's and Saints 1 only need to win one match, whereas we, the Goats need to win 2 in a row now to convincingly win this. So they're still with their back at the wall, but that was a convincing 2-0 from the Goats. So this, honestly, off of that, this could go any way.
Yep. And I love it. This is what I've been talking about all day. We have been really building towards a matchup like this where we have 2 top tier teams that are just not going down without swinging, absolutely trying to get everybody into that punch before they fall. And I love it. I love that the Goats seem to have changed their strategy and seem to have really come on top of this last match because this wasn't even a down to the third cash out. That was, like you said, a really convincing 2-0 in this last match. So you did point out that, yeah, they have to win 3 in a row basically to win this, but if anybody could do it, it's the Goats. I feel it.
And on this next match, I think it's going to be a Monaco matchup here. This is also a very interesting map because a lot of it comes down to the variation. The variations are very volatile in terms of how they are played. You have those suspended structures getting a little bit more range focused, as well as duck and cover being kind of a little bit of a middle ground in terms of range and close range. But if you get the standard edition, it's going to be some rooftop fights with close range engagements once they push those points. It
Yeah.
just comes down to whether or not we see a lot of forest as well.
I love Monaco, but it's the only version that I root not for the standard issue because I think that just from a viewer point of view, there's too many rooftop fights and everybody's so passive because you can slowly inch your way closer and further away from the rooftop fights. They're normally drawn out, and yeah, it's just not my favorite way of seeing this map. It is probably one of my favorite maps to play as a player, just to play in the standard version. But when you really get to the top tier gameplay, it's very different. But we do have suspended structures and the snowy variation. I think that these suspended structures are particularly painful. I think that
Yeah.
they're really in areas that the best strategy is to drop them, not to push into them. And I am curious to see how this plays out for both teams.
And
So it looks like Saints 1 is on orange, and the Goats will be on pink.
when I play this map, this is the one variation I do not like seeing on this loading screen. This changes up your playstyle a lot and your expectations. So you're gonna have to have these players adapt a little bit differently in terms of how they're gonna be engaging this fight. And like you said, taking down these structures can be a very good strategy here, and it may be a force strategy the only way to push, especially this A point. It's going to be tough. B, you can have a little bit more options to push that, but A, you're going to have to probably break down that structure.
Yep, absolutely. And here we go. The fighting is going to be started here shortly. We see the pink team is making their advance. I think that they're just going to go straight for it. Orange team has the gateway set up, so they might be able to move this cash out really quickly over to the cathedral area. But what is this? Both teams just kind of setting up. There's the gateway going down for pink. They're ready to make the advance. There is the other part of the gateway set up. But both teams really just kind of playing this slow. They know what's at stake. They know what they have to fight for. And we see someone over there gargoyled up. He is aiming right at that gateway. He does get a few shots off on them, but not enough to really make anything consequential. Both teams really bunched up together. And boy, Orange is getting some great damage off. Nearly everybody on pink team half health already. And they are kind of scrambling just to stay in front of that APS turret. But here we go. Orange is making the advance. Can they make something happen? There is one wall separating both of these teams, and come on, there it is. There's the explosion, and here we go. The fighting is getting started. There's the Footmoss doing a lot of damage from Mickey, finally making something happen. I think he got 2 kills. He gets chased down by one of their light players, and he goes down in the fight. I think we are down to a 1v1, and their light is running around. Yep, we are seeing light versus light. Can somebody make this happen? Are we going to see coins? What is going to happen next? As there it is. There's Mickey, and they are trying to fight, and oh, he gets it! Just barely. Well done, Saints 1. That is exactly how you play a situation like that. And yeah, I love to see it.
Yeah. Honestly, the stun is considered a fight winner, but with top tier aim that Carnifex has, honestly, if he did not stun, he probably would have won that.
Yep. Yeah. This is wild. My heart rate is racing. I love this. And here we go. Orange is in full control of this cash out. They're bringing it to B, which is probably one of the harder ones to deal with. There is some places that you can jump straight to it. Oh, they throw it and they miss. That will actually buy them a little bit of time, a little bit of a disadvantage. Not enough time to set up exactly for pink team as they make their advance.
And someone's going to go ahead and grab that box, rotate it up, but they're heavy, takes a lot of damage. Emilian almost below. They're going to push off this damage. Emilian at 1 HP, and they're going to chase it as he misses the winch, and they're going to be on low ground, which is going to be a disadvantage. Hopefully they can get some damage here as he rotates up. The heavy pushing in with the SA-12, getting that medium pick and wiping the team. Saints
Wow.
going to be on their heels, and since they dropped that, they basically lost control of it because someone had to drop for it. Maybe someone probably should have just sat down up top and played with his team instead of going for the box.
Yeah, I think so. He really didn't get anything. His combat score is very low, and it's not what you want to see, on a cash out like this. Are they going for the drop? Yeah, I think they are. They don't want that structure up in the air because it really does provide an advantage for whoever is on top there. Orange is starting to make their advance. They're going to be there really quick. The cash out is very much in the open. There it goes. Orange is in the high ground. Oh, looks like a barrel went off and one of them dropped down. So they are split up, and this is not where you want to be. Orange team does bounce pad back up there, and they are here. A lot of fighting happening from the rooftops, or from this case, the suspended structures. And there is Orange. They're making their advance. Someone fell. I'm not sure if that was intended. He does gateway through, but probably right in top of the pink team, and he goes down. Orange is not in a good position for this fight. Pink is in the great spot. There goes an RPG, but I believe it was eaten by that APS. There's the winch claw trying to pull it out. A lot of damage going off from that SA shotgun, and there is a wipe on Orange team. Really kind of a weird fight, but yeah.
I'm not too sure why someone went through that gateway, not even invisible. Like, he got easily picked off. All they needed to do was drop that structure. They did, however, demat 2 of the legs of that structure, stopping it from being dropped from one side, but that back post could have still been shot with a red barrel. One of the structures was already gone there. Dropping them would have been pivotal. It's going to be interesting to see because they're going to have to basically hop on point immediately, and there's going to be almost no opportunity for them to take this. They're right above it. They do get on it, however, forcing them in. They're getting some good body blocks with the SA-12 being too potent there.
Yeah,
And
at that distance, it's just a deletion. You don't even have to aim. It is shooting fish in a barrel, and yeah, when you're on the cash out, you are just stuck. So some really interesting strategies from both teams getting it out in the open, either on the push and the defense side of things. And I love that strategy of dematting two of the structures on the suspended structures. I started seeing that in Breakout, and I think that it's a really good strategy for ensuring that you do have the height advantage for as long as possible. Because for the people that don't know, it makes it almost impossible to drop that cash out station. It's still possible, but it's just a little bit harder. And really, in a game like this, anything that gets you an advantage can help you win.
Yeah, and in this match, these vault fights are going to mean a lot. So getting that plug and setting up defensively is going to give you a massive advantage in these fights. So it's going to be interesting to see how... Oh, maybe they do grab that point, but they miss it. And unfortunately, but they do have some advantage over the cash box and against this team here. So getting pushed in aggressively here. Who's going to be taking big damage here? Orange team with 2 left at 1 HP, getting Pink taken out right here, winning that fight pretty convincingly at the end because Carnifex was slightly out of position, had to rotate around, got caught off guard as they jump padded up on top of him.
Yeah, and so Orange will get the cash out started. They're in a great position for defensive strategy on this one. I would personally try and drop this immediately, either from below or try and drop the entire structure. There's normally enough red barrels around kind of in this area to make that happen, but it does look like Pink Team has spawned in kind of the forest area, which is not the best spot that you want to be making this advance from. I think that they're going to have to go through the houses and not directly through this kind of open park area. Yeah, and that's exactly what they're opting for. But yeah, you can just see the firepower going off from Orange was able to get a lot of damage down on their Pink Team. Even somebody went down in that.
Taken out from a grenade red barrel right there. The red barrel exploding on himself. They're going to get a quick reset, but that's one less resource they have to knock down these structures as they're dematting the structures, the support for it. Carnifex going to look for a gateway, but gets spotted out of his invisibility as he's throwing the gateway, pushing him away. They still do have a push here. They're going to push up backside and pad up right below them. I don't think they understand where they're coming from, but they hear now that they're throwing barrels at them. Emilian almost falling off. They're going to rotate to the other structure. Someone going to get some nice off angles here. And Emilian almost not making it. Mickey jumping over for his life. And they're going to continue to just rain hell on top of this team. Stop them from pushing up. Treason getting up onto A as he's almost getting picked off. They're going to have to sit back and wait.
Yeah, I don't know what they can do in this situation. They really just buying time, and they're going to go down one-on-one because they have such a height advantage over Pink Team at the time. And I'm amazed that they're even still alive. Cash out's running out. I don't even think they're caring about that at this time. They know that it's a lost cause. And yeah, this is just punishing. This is a bully throwing a child in a locker, and they are just going at it. Oh, but there we go. There is the gateway. Now Pink has decided to bring the fight to them, and nope, they end up falling in the exact same situation again. Yeah, not what you want. This is why this variation is a little bit frustrating, because it does end up in situations like this. Literally, when I saw the loading screen, this is exactly this cash out, this area, this suspended part. It played out exactly how I thought it would.
Yeah. We saw Carnifex trying to make something of that gateway, but getting caught out made that gateway a little bit sloppier than it should have been, because someone was able to find him in his invis, forcing his hand, playing a little bit safer, and they did make it over there. Their only opportunity then was to use that jump pad on that elevator to try and get up, but there was just like almost no chance, as we said. Getting easy picks on that medium out of position, getting a good spawn here to push up aggressively. Pink Team's going to get the tap as Orange Team system construction on that crane and just waits for this point to unlock. Orange Team's probably just going to play for that coin and use this time to position themselves with their backs to the point, but Carnifex going to TP 3 onto C and potentially get some good timing advantage here against this team. This is one of those structures that has some capabilities of being pushed from this rooftop and church. So this is not going to be like a point like we just saw. So this is way more balanced of a structure here.
Yep, I agree. And let's see what happens, guys, because this is the last cash out. If Saints 1 is able to get this, they will take the victory. They do make an advance. They are pushing in. A lot of the orange team very low. One of them goes down. Mickey goes down as well, down to just their last heavy player, and he is being chased around, and they are just trying to buy as much time as possible. And he's trying to kill himself with the C4, and it's not enough, and he has to follow it up with an RPG, but he finally gets himself down, and we will see at least one more push from Saints 1. But honestly, it's looking great for Goats, and we might see this go into map 5. I would love for that to happen. Not rooting for either team, but I would love to see as many maps of this go as possible, because this is awesome.
This is where I really think the lack of LH1 shines. Like, the LH1 would be able to be extremely oppressive and allow them to potentially get a pick. Maybe there was a gentleman's agreement on this, but or they're just way too more comfortable on the XB54. But this is where I would love to see LH1. They're going to be setting up an aggressive gateway here, going under the point, potentially dematting it down, forcing them in, but they're going to have some good opportunity. They don't have any eyes on where their team is coming from. They're going to get potentially the quick steal here as he gets winched up. They got the steal. It's just a matter of how they're going to hold this. There's 2v3 right now, getting a pick on the heavy and rotating up, looking for some good damage on the medium, and it's just 2v1 right now unless that light got picked off. It looks like it's going to be an easy hold here as Carnifex pushes aggressively on this medium. Invis pushing aggressively to 2-bar, and it's going to be some ring around the rosy around this goo, and he's going to have to reload. This is crazy.
Oh, no.
And where is this medium? He got the pick, and it looks like it's a wipe on orange team, not buying enough time for the steal. Probably it's going to be down to the wire, but it looks like he's got it last second here, and he does secure that.
My God, that was amazing. The ring around the rosy, the chasing, both teams, both last person alive got a lot of damage off on each other, and it just played out to the absolute last second. So there you have it, folks. We now have the Goats have won 2, Saints 1 have won 2. We are going into one more matchup. This is what you want to see. This is the teams that you want to beat. These are the teams you want to play. I love this. I am beyond excited. I have no prediction. I literally, normally at this point, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's see Saints 1 win this, but no idea. I am just pumped to see one more match. And it seems like it's going to be on Fortune Stadium, my favorite map. So I have everything I wanted for today, and I am going to have a big smile on my face for the rest of today for sure.
That was a crazy engagement, really squeaking out with their backs against the wall. Literally ring around that goo, and insane clutch from Carnifex.
Yeah, and honestly, that goo, I don't think anybody threw that down. I think that was just one of the barrels around. Maybe I'm wrong, but goo is really slept on, and we have seen it work wonders in matches like this, just blocking off spots, buying yourself just a little bit of time to go for the steal, anything. So it was kind of cool to see, almost a maze of goo thrown around and them having to navigate between that and go for such a consequential kill. Yeah, I love it. So here we go. We are loading into Fortune Stadium. Guys, if you have a favorite team, spam it in chat. Throw your love. Let me see who you're rooting for, because I have no idea other than every one of you is in for some absolute amazing finals matches right now.
This is going to be a treat. Final game here, coming down to the wire. Any team could win. We've seen some back and forth from both teams, looking very strong in these fights.
Yeah, and I gotta say it, looking at chat, I'm seeing a lot of goats. Come on, where's the love for Saints? I'm seeing a lot of goats. Maybe goats is easier to type than Saints, but show me who you want, because let's go both. Ooh, I like that take. You are my friend. But here we are. Let's see how this plays out. Both team running winch claw, light, medium, heavy set up. We have DMATs on both. We do not know how this will happen, how this will play out, but if you are excited, I am too. And let's get into it. Vault 1 has spawned. Looks like Orange is making their way on the God Zip. Pink is probably closer to Vault 1. They're going to get the tap. Orange has the height advantage here, but they are setting up and just waiting for somebody there. There is the push from Pink team. Immediately, one of them gets called out. Oh no, they're already split up. One of them down on Pink already. Orange is making the push, trying to take advantage of this, and they are going down. There's one, and one more. or are we seeing the first wipe? We are. Great setup from Orange team. I'm not sure what they did there. It seemed like Carpenex pushed in and was immediately out of position and then just went down. Not what you want to play in a matchup like this.
Yeah, the spawns on this map are typically a little unorthodox right at the start, so I don't think they were really expecting that team to be on that roof that quickly, because half the time, one of the team spawns across the entire map. They just really wanted to move this point, maybe gateway it over to B, but now they just gave it up to Saints 1, who now has convincing control of this hospital point here, which is going to be extremely strong if they do get into this front and get some good looks on this cross, but nobody's looking, only their medium.
Yeah, they're not ready for this
They're
push.
already over there, see?
Yep, they did not take any damage on that advance, so they are already there. I don't even think Orange knows that they're there. They're still looking for them, but they are there. There is the drop. They're going to go for the steal any second now, and Orange has finally realized it. They're making their advance now. The dome shield is waiting for it to go off. There it goes. They pull off from the shield, but oh, that is a great winch claw from Orange. They're able to pull their pink out of position, and look at that. Another pink member goes down, and there is another wipe. Really convincing play from S1 at this time.
Yeah, that was a convincing play. I think they hesitated a little bit too long to start the steal. I don't think they realized how far away Saints 1 was away from their point. Because if they hopped on that thing immediately, they probably would have gotten the flip and been able to fight. But just getting pulled on and waiting too long allowed them to get winched away from it. But they're going to have some good line of sights now that they're set up on this cross. It's going to be interesting to see what they do to get across.
Yeah, and honestly, this is the hardest advantage. It is very comparable to the hospital spawn on Soul, but there it is. They do not take a lot of damage on their approach, so they've in a good spot. Pink has got to make something happen. This cash out is slowly cashing down. We're more than halfway there. Cash out is down to the second to last level. Everybody is bundled up in below the stairs. Not a good spot to be in if you're Orange. One of them goes down from the winch claw, and there is the drop. There is the steal. Barricade goes up. Dome shield goes up as well. Orange team is trying to get the stop on it, but there is the steal from Pink, and they're able to get it along with the wipe. Wow. Both teams are fighting and ready to show that they are here to win.
Honestly, that was a little bit of a misplay from Saints 1 there. Getting caught off guard on first level. They maybe only tried to make a hard call out that they would demap pad up to the high ground. But unfortunately, they should have just probably played somewhere in the middle and not gone to first floor there. They just got called out and got winched and insta-killed.
And stairs are so deadly. For anybody that's playing, it is not the spot you want to fight. It is not the spot you want to be because you really don't know who's around the corner above you or below you. And I see it time and time again that they just get caught out in staircases. So just something to note for you players out there. But here we go. They are fighting across from the islands from each other. It does look like Orange team has started to move closer towards Pink. We see that Treason is set up kind of on top of the roof, along with his team, waiting for anybody to make a move from Orange team.
Just vying for space here. They're going to look to maybe rotate towards the point, get some looks on it. As they get jump pad RPG'd, I'm not sure how much damage that did, but it looks like they got some good damages. They get split up. That heavy is 2-bar, but that medium is even lower. The heavy's going to commit to that fight in a 1v1, potentially getting that pick as that medium gets picked off. The heavy, Emilian pushing in, and it looks like he gets wiped.
Yeah, a little bit of a disjointed play there from Orange, and it did seem like they kind of got caught off guard and then had to scramble to make something happen, and yeah, it just didn't work out in their favor. Ooh, some great movement from Carpenex, but now deciding to go down a level because he went up too high and gets the cash out started. This is also another really good cash out because you have a lot of opportunity to drop it. It's kind of in a corner, and if you want, you can winch it out more into the open of an area. So really good spot for Pink to be in at this time, and honestly, Orange has to make something happen or this is going to be the last cash out of the game.
They're going to look to teleport up to this point.
Yep.
And someone is the last one alive. He's gonna get picked off here, but my bad. I thought everyone was wiped, but the heavy gets away. He's gonna be able to turn this around potentially, unless they're getting this res. But he's just gonna wait. Pink team probably getting this res up, and he's gonna continue to run away.
Yeah, and just buying as much time as possible for his teammates to coin in, get up, whatever he can do. I think he's going to go for the res here. Probably what you should do. Nope, maybe he's just waiting for the coin. They have one last push. Oh no, did he go down? Did we miss that fight? They are down to just one. It is 2
Why would
versus
that?
2.
Why would Emilian be down there? You need to just hide and wait for your team to get back up. Now he staggered himself. Paint team's got a great advantage over this, and they're just gonna get wiped. What a misplay.
No.
They're only gonna have one more opportunity to take this.
Yeah, not only that, but it's going to be a dive. They're going to have to get on it immediately. And honestly, I just don't see it happening. I think that they just made that fatal flaw and just got a little bit separated and then definitely staggered themselves. And yeah, in a game like this where time is of the essence, oof, what a mistake. But let's see if they are able to make something happen. This will be the last push of the game. Here they go. They're dropping on it. Time is running out. We are seeing the steal. They go for it.
Got on in time, but he gets insta-killed.
Nope, and there is nothing that they can do. Very close match. The GOATs have won. Everybody in chat, bam the GOATs. That they did it. They beat Saints 1 just barely. But really, what a convincing play on this last map.
The GOATs coming back full force from a 2-0 lead from Saints 1, coming back, making the reverse 3-0 that they needed, coming in clutch and taking that game convincingly right there. Emilian making a little bit of a mistake, staggering himself, giving that win essentially to the GOATs there. Massive, massive plays from the GOATs coming in clutch.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that really what I saw, the biggest downside was we saw several times that Saints 1 just kind of was out of position. They had one person in the wrong spot, either the stagger or just kind of, maybe there was a drop in communication. I really don't know what happened there, but the GOATs definitely pulled an amazing comeback, 3 wins in a row to take this, and they absolutely earned it. So we have Treason, Carfinex, and Mauser.
Congratulations to all of you. Carnifex, Mauser, and Treason. Well played with the backs of their walls really coming in clutch.
Yep.
And they're going to take the $150 prize pool for Prohubs Sunday 4.
Yes. Absolutely. And I love it that we went all 5 matches. It's what you want to see. Yeah, I'm sorry. I definitely mispronounced Carfinex. It's Carnifex. Yes.
Carnifex, yes.
Yes. And I've been saying his name wrong for basically a year now, so I do apologize, but it is ingrained in my head. So that is the way it is. But guys, what an amazing matchup. And Prohubs, what an amazing setup. Great Sunday. Again, thank you to everybody behind the scenes. And I believe that there will be even more matches coming up. So if you enjoyed this, this will be a recurring theme.
Yeah, and I'd like to give a shout out to Burita, Mickey, and Rio and Desalis for helping facilitate this tournament. It was fantastic casting alongside you, Rio, for the first time here. So It was amazing.
Yeah, and Sonsoyo absolutely had a blast, and hopefully we can do this again because we had a nice rhythm going there. And those were some absolute fun matches, everybody. I am going to sign off, but yeah, you want to say anything else before we head out?
Thank you all for coming out and come back for Prohubs 5. It was fantastic. Can't wait for that next event. It's going to be a big one.
Absolutely. See you guys next time.
Take it easy.
Hello? Oh wait,